Got some fun plays. We're going to talk about all these players, but we've got some specific cut-ups on Carnell Tate, Keldrick Falk, Anthony Hill, and Nick Singleton for people to enjoy tonight. We also have a Carnell Tate jersey for you to win. With every purchase of an install ticket, you get one entry for a chance to win a new Carnell Tate jersey. And now we have numbers, Lucas, 14. So Chimray DK could not be bought, it seems, for the number 17, or Carnell Tate did not make him a significant enough offer.
Did not make him an offer he couldn't refuse. So Tate, 14. Keldrick Falk gets to hang on to the 15 that he wore at Auburn. Nick Singleton wearing 32. We do have some old school numbers in here. How about Anthony Hill Jr. going with 53 at linebacker?
Shout out Keith Bullock.
There we go. And then you've got some big boys wearing 66 for Carmona. Pat Coogan wearing 79. Jackie Marshall, 96. Jaron Kinnick wearing 47 at tight end. Can you impact your chances at making the 53-man roster by your jersey number?
Oh, yes.
Because
yes, you can.
I look at a tight end wearing 47, and I'm like, all right, well, you better show something then, bud. Now, if he had picked like 80, I would have said, oh, okay, expect to see Kinnick on that day one roster.
This may be too much of a lift for either of you to do, but can either of you...
Is.
Well, you're not going to do any work today because you're leaving early today to go to Portugal, and the audience is going to be horrified to find out that Robert is stuck with me for a whole week. But we're going to have a lot of fun guests and all these different things.
Lucas, I feel myself getting sick, so it may just be you.
Oh, coming down with something, are you?
Yes, I've got the Portuguese flu. I think I need to be in another country.
So, yes, Lucas is sitting in my chair today because I am going to run off to practice because the Titans have rookie minicamp today and had numbers assigned as a result of the rookie minicamp taking place today and tomorrow. Robert Salah is going to speak to the media at 10:45, and you will hear that press conference in the noon hour today for those of you who are interested in learning more about what Robert Salah's plan is. Mike Borgonzi is going to be on with us tonight for the first time after these rookies get out there on the field, after their first week of work, after a couple of mini camps, because the Titans were one of the 10 teams that could start their off-season program earlier with an extra mini camp on the week of the draft.
You were going to say something that was supposedly going to be a heavy lift for us?
Oh, yeah. You can absolutely lose a roster spot based on your jersey number, because there was a wide receiver wearing number 11 here, an undrafted rookie free agent whose name escapes me. It was not Cam Batson, but it was of a similar ilk. They were built similarly.
Not Taywan Taylor.
Not Taywan Taylor. Taywan Taylor was a 4th-round draft pick out of Western, I want to say. This was a wide receiver bogarting the number 11, because if you remember, A.J. Brown's first appearance at rookie minicamp, he was wearing what number? 17.
Who was wearing 11?
This little pissant UDFA wide receiver.
Man.
Would not give up 11 for A.J. Brown, so they cut his ass. They cut his ass so fast.
I mean, let's not pretend like that's the reason why, but A.J. Brown hadn't even proven anything yet. A.J. Brown hadn't stepped on the field yet.
Buddy.
But was it? No, not Des Fitzpatrick.
No, it wasn't Des. Des was also a draft pick. This was a UDFA wide receiver that had at least been with the Titans for a year. I want to say he had been in camp with them previously. His name is going to escape me. I can picture him like a little bug.
That's going to drive me nuts.
Yeah, I know. As soon as
he would have been on the roster.
If somebody discovers the name, he would have been on the roster.
In 2018?
He would have been on the roster. I don't know if he was on the roster. He might have been on the practice squad. He might have been a P squad guy.
Yeah, that is crazy as a P squad guy, not giving up your number to
he was
second round draft.
So they said, okay, we'll get another one. And then thus Cam Batson came into existence with a package of plays that Mickey Ryan used to call the Wild Bat.
Yes.
Right?
Did you see that Nick Foles is giving up his number a la Warren Moon to Mekhi Lemon?
Okay. So, with the appropriate amount of respect to Nick Foles, who did win a Super Bowl, and win a Super Bowl decisively.
I had forgotten that his jersey's retired.
I did not know that until yesterday. I know that there's a statue to him and Doug Peterson outside of the Eagles Stadium.
Yeah.
Which, okay. I mean, it was the first championship for Philadelphia.
Okay.
For the Eagles, anyway.
His jersey was not technically retired. Just nobody has worn it.
18, not 17 for A.J. Brown. So whoever 18 was.
Okay.
or whoever, was 11, because 11 was the number that they would not give up for the sake of A.J. Brown. It's going to make me insane. I'm going to have to text somebody with the Titans to remind me, or somebody who used to work for the Titans.
So nobody's worn 9 in Philly since Nick Foles. It's not technically retired, but they've almost kind of put it on hold.
It's like that LSU jersey number that every team captain gets to wear, right? It's got its own place of honor, the number 9. Is it 18 for LSU?
No, it's involving a 7, maybe. Shoot. Oh, that's going to drive me nuts now.
I thought it was a double-digit number.
Foster Moreau wore it at LSU. That's going to drive me
this is so
insane.
Weird looking at the back of Buck's head.
I hate this.
Halo Rail fan says...
no, it is 18.
Damori Stringfellow?
No.
Nope.
No. No, it was not. I don't think that's a real person.
I mean, that's actually going to drive me nuts.
I don't think that's a real person. I literally could send, if we weren't in the middle of doing a segment, I would send a text right now and have the answer post-haste, because this person was infamous for DMing people.
This player that was hogging 11?
Yes, this player had a number of different behavioral things that would give you cause to jettison him from the practice squad for keeping A.J. Brown from wearing 11.
So it was A.J.'s rookie year.
A.J.'s rookie year. He was out there at rookie minicamp in 18.
But this guy...
Which, by the way, did you remember at the rookie reveal that Derrick Henry was 24? I saw that picture making the rounds the other day. I was stunned by it. It was weird. It's almost like you and me sitting in opposite chairs. Like it registered as foreign to me.
Who's the last Titans receiver to wear 14? Was that Khalif Raymond?
Khalif Raymond is the last one. Oh, no, wasn't Dowell. Colton Dowell was 14.
That's right. That's right. Local guy.
But I think that Khalif, are we just doing a thing where we name random Titans players to start the show? Which is fine. We can play that game.
Hector Bruce. Or
No,
Bruce Hector.
Not him.
No,
Not him. There's a wide receiver on the Titans roster this year, a UDFA named Hank. That player can't be good.
That's
Hank
it?
Beatty.
Oh, okay. I thought you just meant
Beatty.
It'd be way cooler if his name was just Hank. No
Just
middle, no last, just Hank.
Just like Messi.
Yeah.
Except he's a UDFA for the Titans.
Okay, so I've been trying to do some digging.
Who? Like Messi?
Yeah, like just one name. You just go, or Zion. You only go by one name.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay, I was going to say Messi does have a first name.
Sure.
Speaking of the NBA, what the Knicks did to the Hawks last night
my God.
should be illegal. Like, they should all be arrested. This was 40-15 after the first quarter. They won 140-89, and that makes it seem closer than it was.
This is good. Stall so I can find this wide receiver's name.
So the Knicks win the series in 6 games. That has to be one of the most rollover performances in NBA playoff history. None of us on this show, admittedly, are NBA experts, but my goodness. And then it feels like there's some collapses brewing around the league as the Sixers come back from down 3-1 to force a Game 7 yesterday. LeBron and the Lakers were up 3-0, and now that series against the Rockets is headed to a Game 6 happening tonight in Houston. So there is some early drama in the NBA playoffs.
I've got text bubbles. I feel like we are on the precipice of discovering this.
Was it Rashad Davis?
Devin Ross.
Wow.
Devin Ross. Titans legend. What a pull. I knew if I texted this one person that they would specifically know the name of a human being that nobody in the NFL should ever remember for any football purposes.
Never caught a pass in the NFL.
Devin Ross.
He looks like a nice guy.
No. He's a little bug.
He looks like a great guy. 5'9", 192.
Last played in the USFL in 2024.
Sure. So not even the UFL, not even the cool one owned by The Rock.
Or no, it might have been the UFL. I don't know. But
Devin Ross.
Played at Colorado in college.
What a pull by this person.
That is crazy.
Thank you, person.
Thank you, person. Phenomenal.
Oh,
somebody said Devin Ross is a made-up person. I swear to God.
That is the deep cut Titans name of all deep cut Titans.
He was a
names.
wide receiver on the Titans roster for a period of time until he wouldn't let A.J. Brown have 11. He said, you know what? Get out of here.
I didn't know the Titans had Hronis Grasu on their team.
They did, because he was Marcus Mariota's buddy.
Really?
Yeah. That was his center at Oregon, correct?
Yeah, but he started with the Bears, right? That's kind of crazy. I just forgot that he was a dude. I love looking at Our Lads.
I don't know that he are you looking at that year, Our Lads?
I was going month by month.
That's crazy.
And it was like, okay, A.J. Brown's not on the team. Now A.J. Brown's on the team, and he's 11. Like, it wasn't even listing Devin Ross as a player that the Titans had as a UDFA.
Somebody on the YouTube chat said, so Devin Ross DM'd that woman you just texted? Yes, that's what happened.
Who was that? Who was that guy that used to text you?
That's correct. Who's that one little pissant wide receiver that slid in your DMs at one time?
Oh, yeah, I know who you texted.
I don't even remember this player. Do you guys remember a Gimmel president?
Oh, yes, he was a pass rusher.
That sounds made up, too.
He was an edge player. No, it wasn't Gimmel. I think it was Jameel?
Oh, okay. It's spelled like it looks like they're trying to spell Gimli. Gimel.
I think that human being's name was Jameel President.
Oh,
did he make the roster? There's no way.
It doesn't look like he did.
What year was it? What year is this?
2019.
Oh my God, this is my sweet spot.
June of 2019.
Yeah, there's no chance. I feel like maybe he lingered around because 2020 is when they started like Reed. Do you remember Brooks Reed?
Yep.
Brooks Reed played for the Titans.
Long, flowing blonde hair.
Yeah, so was it full? Because when you looked at his picture, it looked like it was patchy.
It was very stringy.
Like he was a part of like a nuclear explosion and only portions of his head could grow hair again.
You guys ever seen Rugrats?
Of course.
The Angelica doll.
Okay. Yeah. Yes, that's
mean.
Exactly what it looked like.
That's exactly what came into my mind when you reminded me of Titans legend, Brooks Reed.
Some news. Just got a push notification from The Athletic. We mentioned the other day that Russell Wilson will be visiting the New York Jets at the behest of Geno Smith, who suggested he be the backup in New York. He, according to The Athletic, is in talks to go into TV.
Oh, God.
And go ahead and hang it up.
Oh, no.
And work for CBS. CBS, the favorite to land Russell Wilson in his television career.
He belongs on CBS, if any other network, right?
He belongs on PBS. Don't put him anywhere near my TV.
No, he's perfect.
He would fill that spot that Matt Ryan left to go be president of football for the Falcons.
Why do you not think that Russell Wilson would be good at television? It's the same reason that A-Rod is good at television, because they are two of the most inauthentic human beings you've ever seen in your life. It's perfect for TV.
I wouldn't call A-Rod good at television. I mean, people pay attention to the things he says, but I don't know that Aaron Rodgers would be a good analyst?
No, not. Who calls? Since when have you ever heard me call Aaron Rodgers A-Rod? I'm talking about Alex Rodriguez.
Oh. Yeah.
The actual A-Rod. What?
People call Aaron Rodgers A-Rod.
No. A-Rod.
No one has. Shut up.
Who in the history of ever has called Aaron Rodgers A-Rod?
They have
Not
never.
one human ever has done that.
Okay. It's probably as many people as when they hear the name A-Rod think Aaron Rodgers.
No one.
You are as wrong here as I am. Okay? You need to know this.
Hold on. I'm going to Pro Football Reference, and we will see if that is actually. No, it is listed as Aaron Charles Rodgers, in parentheses, A-Rod.
No.
Thank you.
A-Rod.
R-O-D. A-Rod?
A-Rod.
A-Raji?
A-Rod.
BJ
No,
Raji?
now you're doing something else. Relax.
Be serious
I
for
love
1
BJ
second.
Raji.
A-Rod sounds ridiculous.
A-Rod.
All right, get out of here.
Now you're
I'm going to go
trolling.
to practice.
Wait, you're not staying for another segment?
No, I'm done with this for the day.
Okay, now that Buck is
I got a whole
leaving.
bunch of crap to do tonight. I'll see you tonight at the install. Carnell Tate jersey giveaway. Lucas and Robert have the rest of the
Okay, wait. Before Buck is gone, now that he's leaving, he has no more power over the show. We can agree to that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'm going to give away install tickets every hour.
Oh,
Boom.
Every single hour, we are giving away 2 tickets to the install because Buck can't stop me.
What do people have to do?
Nothing. We'll give away a pair for Friday Fire, and then maybe we'll find a cool giveaway. If not, it'll be caller 5.
Friday Fire is coming up at 11:45. 615-737-1045 is how you jump in throughout the course of the show. But coming up next, we have not gotten to this. The first take style debate between Charles Davis and Daniel Jeremiah on the NFL Network desk about whether or not Fernando Mendoza will start right away with the Raiders. What will that mean for the number 1 overall pick in 2026? Let's do it next.
the Tennessee Men's Clinic is here to help you like they've helped so many guys over the course of the last decade, because if you're just feeling off, if your energy is low, if you are somebody who is experiencing performance issues, then the Tennessee Men's Clinic can help find a plan that makes the most sense for you. And it's not a one-size fits all type of situation. You're working with true medical providers. They run labs, build a plan around you, and make sure that you're getting the proper individualized care. They treat low performance, ED, weight loss, and even peptides like NAD+. Their treatments have worked for thousands of men, and most guys say they wish they would have come in sooner. Right now, your lab panel and consultation are just $99, so call them today at 615-208-9090. That's 615-208-9090, or go to TennesseeMen'sClinic.com.
Okay, welcome back to the show, fueled by Hattie B's Hot Chicken. Glad to have you with us. Lucas and Bert with you until 1 o'clock. Buck is off to Titans rookie minicamp, where Robert Salah is set to meet with the media coming up at 10:45. We will play that press conference for you in its entirety coming up later on in the show at 12:20. But between now and then, we have much to discuss. We are live on 104.5 The Zone TV, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and Twitch, where you can jump in on the F&M Bank chat, fueled as always by Hattie B's Hot Chicken, HattieB.com, and the Hattie B's app. By the way, I keep driving by the new Hattie B's location that's set to open in East Nashville on Gallatin. And I get a similar feeling that I do when I drive by the new Nissan Stadium. Just that feeling of exciting energy.
Starting to look like what it's going to look like.
Right.
They're hanging drywall.
There's drywall. Yeah. Coming soon, Hattie B's in East Nashville. There's going to be some really cool stuff at that location, too, that you're going to want to check out. When it does open, we will almost certainly be out there doing stuff as a show when it opens. Order Hattie B's for pickup or delivery or dine-in today on your lunch break. We didn't get to this. And by the way, for as much as last year Cam Ward felt like was an under-discussed number 1 overall pick at quarterback, right? That was kind of a gripe from Titans fans. They didn't pay him enough attention on draft night when he was selected as the Jags were trading up to 2 for Travis Hunter. There just wasn't enough discourse overall around the number 1 overall pick last year for a lot of Titans fans. Doesn't it feel like that was kind of the case for Fernando Mendoza? It feels like there was next to no discussion about what Fernando Mendoza can be for the Las Vegas Raiders, how the Raiders will approach him in 2026. And it's not a turnkey thing because Kirk Cousins is in the building. We knew Cam Ward from the jump was going to start the moment they signed Brandon Allen as the backup. Cam Ward, welcome to Tennessee. Here's the keys to the offense. Week 1, here we go. But Kirk Cousins is in Minnesota, or excuse me, in Las Vegas. Fernando Mendoza now is officially a Raider. And I don't know how many games he's going to start this year. I don't think any of us can say with any degree of certainty. This turned into a heated debate on NFL Network with Daniel Jeremiah and Charles Davis on draft night, which we have not gotten to throughout the course of the week. I do think it's worth playing, and it's worth a discussion here. And this is not something we typically hear from Charles and Daniel Jeremiah on the NFL Network desk. This was them last weekend.
I think he's going to fare just fine in year 1 because
he
of what's
doesn't play?
No, he's playing, okay? He's the number 1 pick in the draft. We've gone through this dance so many times
Let's
before.
dance it.
Because everyone says the same thing. I got a quarterback behind him. I've got a veteran, and we're going to play the veteran, and then we're going to get the rookie when he's ready, and we're going to take our time on the whole thing. And by week 3, the rookie's in the lineup and playing. I've danced this dance so many times before. You can name all the other guys you want to. You can give me the Mahomes set. You can give me the Carson Palmer set. You can do it all you want. The odds are overwhelmingly in favor of Fernando Mendoza playing sooner rather than later. But I think he'll be successful because I think John Spytek has done a fantastic job. Off-season draft, putting together a new squad. Clint Kubiak coaching, bringing him along. He is going to play. It's going to be earlier than what people are projecting, and I think he's going to fare just fine because I love the makeup of the kid.
I'm going to disagree with you on this. I think he's going to
disagree all you want. You know, take your money.
Yeah, I will disagree with you because
Charles Davis late in the draft is my favorite. Last I checked, Tom Brady hasn't been in this role for any other team, and Tom Brady's been on national airways forever talking about how this league fails quarterbacks and how they don't do it properly. And he went through this himself.
And let's wait and see what Tom does.
He went through this himself. He's got his guy in place. Kirk Cousins.
Drew Bledsoe was sitting there.
I know, and Kirk Cousins is an accomplished player in this league.
Pick.
He's an accomplished player in this
Tom
league.
was a 6th-round
pick. Kirk Cousins
pick.
is not some
He was
scrub.
not a first-round pick.
He's not going to rush him on the field. I'm just telling you. He's not going to do it.
He will tell us that now.
They're not in any hurry. They just hired the head coach. He just got there. There's no rush. They're in no hurry.
All right, so let me ask you this.
He's not going to start right away. I promise you.
Okay, so then let me ask you this.
Okay, so Rich Eisen steps in as DJ and Charles start getting into it a little bit.
I don't like this. This is like my 2 draft dads fighting. Like, if McShay was thrown in here and they're all just throwing haymakers, I wouldn't know who to side with.
Well, both consummate professionals, certainly. Charles Davis was on with Ramon and Will. Sounded great this morning on 104.5 The Zone.
He was dropping a crazy nuggets. What I like about Charles, not to cut you off, sorry. Charles, you get him going, and he will just unravel the CVS receipt of knowledge that he has on any player, process, addition of something, subtraction of something. He's so good. Zach, when was he on with Ramon and Will? What time? Was it 9:20, 8:20? 8:20. Go listen to the pod. Charles was exceptional with them this morning.
Always is. Now, thankfully, the AC/DC in the background has faded. The cosmic blast sound effects and like heavy metal music that NFL Network plays in the background has faded as well. And Rich Eisen has stepped in as Charles Davis and Daniel Jeremiah have started to get into it a little bit, which already we don't often see during their coverage of the NFL draft, which I always think is exceptional. But they continue on.
to see this.
Maybe it's not right away, but let me ask you. I'm going to give you on Friday on my show, the Rich Eisen Show, 12 to 3 Eastern. We have a segment called What's More Likely. Okay, my guy Chris Brockman asks me all sorts of questions and puts me in positions. I'll put you into the position he put me in the other day. What's more likely? What's more likely to be higher? Number of Fernando Mendoza starts this year? Raiders draft position in next year's NFL draft. What number is higher?
Ooh, I'm going to say that he's going to start 7 games.
Okay. And so
Kirk Cousins will get him past the halfway mark.
Okay. So 7 games.
Start 7 games, and I'm going to say that the Raiders are picking 9 next year.
Okay. What about you?
Oh, draft position.
You think that he's going to be? I thought you said
I'm sorry. Starts.
So starts.
The number of starts for him.
Starts. So he said 7 starts. How many starts do you think he gets?
12 minimum.
I mean, geez, Chuck, the way you were talking, you would have thought he was going to start the first day of minicamp.
The way you were,
now you've already given him 5 weeks for Kirk Cousins after you just said no chance.
The way you were talking, he was going to sit the entire year, and you got him given 7 starts.
What an oversell!
Oh, please, you oversold that like crazy. He's not going to rush him in.
So
He's
good.
not going to watch him play. And you're giving him 7 starts.
Christmas, you threw
7 starts.
Before
if he's not going to rush him in, and they've got a confident guy, then he sits all year long.
They're showing water shots now. They're showing water shots of the calm conflict.
I mean, if you're saying that they got Kirk Cousins and they're not going to play him, how's he getting 7 starts?
Ian wants to step in like Mills Lane.
Way.
Step in, Ian. What do you got?
And who would have thought that this synergy would bring us first take here on Game 7th round of the draft?
That's right.
Thanks. I'll be here all week. Literally, we'll be here all week.
Shut up, Rap.
Just throwing haymakers.
It was so good.
How
man.
about it?
I would love that show.
Yeah.
Like 2 guys, very respectful guys. I don't think I've heard either one of them take that tone ever.
Yeah.
Charles on NFL Network at the Combine is like the only guy that actually talks about the warts of players, but he does it in a soft way. He's like, yeah, this guy's terrible. He can't play in the league. He still talks about what's bad about players.
Incredibly nuanced.
But you never hear them like this. I loved this. Like, it felt like they were just 2 passionate people combating each other about the process in which to bring a quarterback up to speed. I thought this was excellent.
What do you think? 615-737-1045. Daniel Jeremiah believes he's going to get a long runway. Charles Davis believes he's going to get in quicker than you might think. Kirk Cousins is just sitting there as the experienced option for the Raiders to lean on. The Tom Brady point by DJ is a fair one. The amount of sway he has in that building, the career path that Tom Brady had himself. And yes, Tom Brady was a 6th-round pick, but he's been on record time and time again talking about how quarterbacks get thrown into situations early in their careers that they're just not prepared for. So let's go ahead and let's use that prompt that Rich Eisen gave Charles Davis and Daniel Jeremiah. What's the higher number? The amount of starts that Fernando Mendoza has in 2026 or the draft position that the Raiders have in the 2026 NFL draft? I agree with Charles Davis. I think the amount of starts will be higher. It doesn't mean that I think Fernando Mendoza automatically begins the season as the Raiders starter. But we just saw this with Michael Penix Jr., right, and Kirk Cousins in Atlanta. They had an opportunity there to give Michael Penix a runway. But whether you like it or not, that clock starts ticking and that noise starts growing louder and louder. It's a lot of pressure on Kirk Cousins in that situation. And no matter how disciplined a front office or a coaching staff is, there's an undeniable amount of pressure that comes with throwing out your number 1 overall pick at quarterback when any sort of struggles come along. And the Raiders are not in a position to cruise through the 2026 season. There are going to be struggles. Tyler Linderbaum is in place. They addressed the offensive line in the offseason. Ashton Jeanty moving into year 2. But there are going to be struggles early on with this offense. I agree with Charles Davis. It doesn't mean Mendoza's a day 1 starter. You brought in Kirk Cousins for a reason. But, Robert, I think by October, Mendoza's in there as the quarterback of the Raiders.
It's tough to disagree with Charles's notion there, but I think I've got to side with DJ. Like, they've got one shot at this with a brand new head coach. Tom Brady is getting to pick his quarterback. And the difference between Atlanta was Kirk had no idea they were going to take Penix. Kirk knew when he came here that they were going to take Mendoza.
Yeah.
So I don't think you're worried about people's minds about, is Kirk going to be upset if he's not the starter? I don't think that's the reason you make this decision. I think the decision you want to make is you don't want to ruin this guy in the gauntlet that is the AFC West. Or say they start, we don't know the schedule yet, but say the Raiders start on the road or put him in a perilous position. I just think if you don't have to start Mendoza early, then you shouldn't. Like, let him learn the offense. It's a new offense for everyone. Like, the worst-case scenario would be he goes out there, gets hurt early in the season, and loses the entire season of experience to injury. Now, you can't play worried about injury, but I see myself siding with DJ Moore that there's no hurry. They're not contending. There's no reason for Mendoza to rush out there and try to get them to win the AFC West to get in the playoffs because that's a far-fetched idea. Why not stretch it out, make sure that he's ready, and if he's ready in 3 weeks, pull the trigger. If he's ready in 3 months, pull the trigger. But, don't feel like you have to have him out there week 1, week 3, week 5. I'm going to mark on my schedule. If he's not ready by week 5, then we're making the switch. I think it's a feel the situation out thing. Fernando Mendoza has had the playoffs or the playbook since the offseason process started, as he's been training with former quarterback coaches in that system to get ready for it. I just don't think if he's ready, start him. But if he's not, I don't feel like you should have to push him to be that guy.
By the way, Titans do go back to Vegas in 2026. Obviously, we don't have the NFL regular season schedule yet. That'll come out at some point here in the next couple of weeks as we are officially into the month of May. But I wonder what that cutoff is for when we see Fernando Mendoza starting for the Raiders and how that would affect the Titans. If you see the Raiders pop up, let's say week 2 on the road, I feel like you're probably going to see Kirk Cousins. If you see the Raiders pop up week 12 or 13, then the odds are probably heavier in favor of Mendoza being the guy at that point. Kirk Cousins started until in Atlanta in 2024 through week 15. Week 16 was Michael Penix's first start. And different organization, different head coach.
And it was also due to injury, right? Kirk got hurt that season.
Well, he, in week 15, because he started that season red hot, like scorching hot. He had that crazy record-breaking performance on Thursday Night Football against 400
Tampa. 400 passing yards.
More than 500. He broke Matt Ryan's single-game record.
Maybe 6.
503 passing yards. I'm sorry, 509 passing yards.
Get it right.
In that Week 5 game against the Bucs on Thursday Night Football. And then just the performances. I mean, he started to stack up the turnovers. In Week 15, he passed for a season-low 112 yards and an interception against the Raiders, ironically, but ended his touchdown drought in that game. It was still a 15-9 win that snapped a losing streak for Atlanta, but it was the following day that Raheem Morris announced Michael Penix would replace Kirk Cousins as the starter beginning Week 16. At the time, Cousins was leading the league in interceptions with 16. He was tied for the league lead in fumbles. After the season, he did reveal his shoulder had been injured in Week 10.
Yeah, so that's what I was alluding to. So he was playing through a shoulder injury.
But at the time, it was a performance-based thing, the reason why Michael Penix Jr. came in.
Right.
But Tom Brady is kind of the X factor that hangs over all of this, right? And Tom Brady is going to be in lockstep every step of the way. Fernando Mendoza may show up, and they feel like he's readier for the moment. That's what these next few months are for, I guess, if you're the Las Vegas Raiders. Kirk Cousins showed up in Vegas and ended up signing a fully guaranteed deal. He signed a 5-year contract worth up to $172 million, only $20 million of which is fully guaranteed. The Falcons are paying a chunk of that money, almost $9 million, and the Raiders are essentially paying Kirk Cousins the vet minimum salary of $1.3 million in addition to his $10 million signing bonus. It's a 5-year deal that's a lot smaller than a 5-year deal. I can't remember how it actually shook out, where it really looks more like a 1 to 2 year situation, right, for Kirk Cousins in Vegas this season.
I thought you brought up a good point with Cam Ward last year to start his rookie year. We knew Cam Ward was starting.
Yeah,
week
no
1
doubt about it.
Because they added Brandon Allen. It's like, okay, we're not starting Brandon Allen week 1. Like, the benefits of that are small to none. Is there a veteran quarterback they could have added in the offseason last year that would make it make sense to start him over Ward?
Oh, just in hindsight?
In hindsight, like if they would have added a Joe Flacco, a Jameis Winston, like someone with starting experience that maybe could have lightened the load and lessened the pressure on him to start or at least compete week 1. One, do you think there's a guy that exists that would do that? And 2, do you think it would have been worth it knowing what we know now, seeing Cam elevate his game as the season went on? I mean, that was the only thing we wanted to see from Cam last year. Does he continually get better every week, make less and less mistakes, do more and more things correctly?
In hindsight, I'm okay with how things went because Cam Ward was able to stay healthy and he kind of got a head start with those bullets flying, and we saw the gradual improvement throughout the course of the season. But absolutely, there could have been an argument, at some point last offseason that the Titans should bring in a veteran to just try and keep things as stable as possible. But at the end of the day, I think the team had so many issues that the cries for Cam Ward to come in would have been so loud, and it would have happened so early.
Yep.
Right? Like, I agree. The Titans situation would not have been that much better than it was early last year with a veteran in there at quarterback, and it would have just been, hey, man, what do we have to lose? Put in the rookie. Let him get those reps early on. So I don't know that it would have made a huge difference. It didn't matter because we knew Brandon Allen was signing with the Titans as soon as free agency started, pretty much. We were at the SEC tournament at Bridgestone when that news broke, and that all but sealed the deal. Now, do you know the last number 1 overall pick at quarterback that has not started right out of the gate in week 1?
Ooh. Kyler Murray? No, I think
Murray did.
Joe did, right?
Joe did.
Bryce Young didn't?
Bryce did.
Wow. Trevor Lawrence.
He did as well. He had Gardner Minshew in that QB room. He started day 1. It's Baker in 2018. Do you remember who did start?
Was it the Notre Dame quarterback? No, it was. He was gone. He was long gone by then.
Yep.
Give it to me.
Think.
Virginia Tech 6th-round pick, Ravens. Yeah. Zach whispered it to me.
Tyrod Taylor. Because I remember that Hard Knocks very well. The memory.
That elite Hard Knocks. No bleep, I got a lozenge.
Right.
With Greg Williams.
And the Browns O-line coach, the whole deal. That's one of the last few Hard Knocks I watched. It stuck in my mind for whatever reason. Hugh Jackson coming up to Baker, and they're mic'd up talking about, when'd you get in? When'd you get in this morning? He said, I got in. I can't remember what he said, 7 a.m., 8 a.m., whatever. Okay, Tyrod got here, 6 a.m. And Baker's like, yeah, well, he comes in, he does his own little workout. And Hugh Jackson, well, where's your own little workout?
Oh, my. Was that also the Corey Coleman, like, if you don't want me, then trade me, man. Why don't you trade me?
Yeah, Corey Coleman, another. This just feels like a naming names kind of show today.
Yeah, I can feel it.
Yeah.
I can feel it.
Corey Coleman, when did he?
Deshaun Kaiser was the Notre Dame quarterback I was trying to think of that failed.
Yeah, he played against the Titans, I want to say in the 2016 or 17 season starting for the Browns.
I feel like we're gonna miss those Browns, dude, because Andrew Berry has stacked 2 drafts in a row where it's just been like, wow, all this dude does is rip value off the board. I'm very worried that the Browns are building a foundational core that the AFC is going to be like, can't you go back to when we used to just stomp all over you guys? I kind of miss that. The Browns are looking kind of scary, man.
Man, there's some organizations, though, that I feel like are, until they prove otherwise, are almost the losing nature of the organization is almost impervious to whatever they do roster-wise. I feel like the Jets are like this with the talent roster that they stacked up under Robert Salah, just hit after hit after hit in the draft that pretty much went to waste. And I worry that the Browns are going to be like that. I say I worry. I don't care what happens with the Browns. I'm good with the Browns continuing to be the Browns. But I would be worried if I were a Browns fan because coming back to the quarterback situation, what in the world do you have to be confident about if you're a Browns fan? I suppose you could be excited about Shadour's sort of developmental trajectory with how he finished last season. But as we talked about earlier this week, Mary Kay Cabot reporting Deshaun Watson appears to be the early favorite to start for the Browns in 2026. It just can inspire confidence. So the Browns, I fear, could be very close to a Robert Salah Jets team where it ends up not really mattering because it's just dragged down by the quarterback position and the overall ineptitude of the organization. But we'll see. So it'll be interesting. Fernando Mendoza, that will actually be a fascinating storyline, I think, at Raiders training camp, what his trajectory looks like and his path to starting. And Kirk Cousins, yet again, I mean, he keeps collecting these bags of fully guaranteed money, so I don't know how much he minds, but he will yet again be in a position where he could very well be the starter day 1 with a first-round rookie quarterback in his shadow.
I feel like giving something away.
Oh, you feeling?
I'm feeling froggy. I feel like I'm going to jump.
You're feeling generous.
Caller 5. If you want to give us a call, 615-737-1045. Caller number 5 is going to win 2 tickets to the install tonight. Buck told me, no, we don't give these tickets away. They're too valuable. We sell it every single year. I said, I don't care. I don't care. I want people who weren't going to be able to go to be able to go. So if you want to go to the install tonight, see Greg Cosell, see Titans General Manager Mike Borgonzi, give us a call, 615-737-1045 for your chance to go to the install tonight. But we have some SEC takeaways.
We have a stat of the day coming up next.
Let's talk about sex, baby. Let's talk about the SE.
Let's talk about quarterback turnover, which is a pretty big factor for the two SEC teams in the state of Tennessee going into 2026. The stat of the day is 7,104 yards and 53 touchdowns. That is the combined yardage and touchdown mark that both Tennessee and Vanderbilt are replacing after Diego Pavia and Joey Aguilar move on to the next level, pursuing NFL opportunities. Joey Aguilar, a UDFA with the Jacksonville Jaguars. Diego Pavia, a UDFA with the Baltimore Ravens. The question here is which program is going to have a more difficult time replacing the production of the outgoing quarterback? And I think it's a fascinating question because there's a lot of moving parts with it. There's no question that Vanderbilt has more of an idea of who the starter is going to be. in all likelihood, Jared Curtis, 5-star freshman, will be getting the snaps day one for Vandy. That could be the case for Tennessee with Faison Brandon, 5-star freshman, starting from day one. Of course, it could also be George McIntyre. The Big Orange Caravan came through Nashville earlier this week. Tennessee head coach Josh Heupel was on with 3HL, and I'm sure he has just been peppered about questions. He's not revealing anything to anyone at this point, but for what it's worth, this is the last we heard Josh Heupel speaking on Tennessee's QB battle between George McIntyre and Faison Brandon.
You look at young guys that haven't played a lot of football, learning. George had a year of offense underneath him. The other two guys are brand new to it. Just learning the offense, being able to call it, communicate, and get yourself in the right position as far as your reading progression and body position. I thought they did a really good job. They grew during spring ball, and there were some bad plays. Not a lot of them. There were a few of them. They did a good job taking care of the football, but they responded in a good way, and when they didn't have their best day, man, they came back and competed really well the next day. So a lot of growth. There's a lot left, and they've done a good job since spring ball, continuing to grow, and this summer is going to be critical.
Can we hear, Robert, one more time, the sound of a man who has been asked this question 13 zillion times since the start of spring practice?
You look at...
That might be the most exasperated sound I've ever heard come out of Josh Heupel.
Me when that rake of vodka finally hits my tongue tonight at the install.
Oh, no.
He's so tired of it, dude.
Me when I realized that I left a pen in my pocket when I did laundry and it exploded all over my clothes. It was a great interview. Go check out the 3HL podcast. Josh Heupel sat down with them at Marathon Music Works earlier this week at Big Orange Caravan. So he's been asked about it time and time and time again, not revealing anything, certainly. But I do think it's a reasonable question. Which team is going to have more trouble replacing their respective quarterback? Now, the talent profile of Tennessee's roster is in a place that Vanderbilt's is not, but there is absolutely the possibility that Jared Curtis, I suppose, adapts to the SEC level quicker than whoever wins the job out of Tennessee. There's no way of knowing that right now. I think the Tennessee starter is more likely to be supported with the amount of continuity that's coming back. I'm just talking about what's proven, right? What we know about these rosters. We know about Tennessee bringing back Mike Matthews and Braylon Staley and a lot of parts and pieces on the offensive line, and David Sanders Jr. at left tackle, Ori Williams likely at right tackle, Deshaun Bishop at running back. A lot of proven commodities coming back on the offensive side of the ball for Tennessee. Now, that is still absolutely the case with Vanderbilt in a lot of scenarios. Junior Sherrill is back at wide receiver. Cedric Alexander is back and probably going to be leaned on heavily at running back this season for Vanderbilt. But it does feel like just Tennessee's talent floor is slightly higher than Vanderbilt's on offense. It does not mean Jared Curtis cannot hit the ground running quicker than whoever wins the starting job for Tennessee. I can't help but shake this feeling that Tennessee could look more like that 2024 team that made the college football playoff than the 2025 team that had a ton of flaws defensively, that turned the ball over a lot more, but had a higher ceiling on offense and kind of got back to those offensive numbers that we became accustomed to in the Heupel era. But I just think Josh Heupel and this staff are going to have maybe the luxury, if the Jim Knowles defense does what it's expected to do in 2026, to not put a ton on the shoulders of whoever emerges out of this battle as the first-time starter, a la Nico Iamaleava back in 2024. Whereas I think Vanderbilt goes as Jared Curtis goes, to be totally honest, in 2026. But it's been a long time since both Tennessee and Vanderbilt were in a similar position of replacing a productive quarterback that had stacked multiple seasons and both exiting at the same time. I think you probably have to go back to after the 2012 season when Jordan Rodgers is done at Vanderbilt and Tyler Bray is done at Tennessee. Like, to me, and their combined numbers, don't hold a candle to the combined numbers between Aguilar and Diego Pavia. Pavia, obviously a Heisman finalist. Joey Aguilar led the SEC in passing yards in the regular season.
Where did Joey end up? Is he with the Bengals?
Jacksonville.
Jacksonville.
As a UDFA.
Dang. Yep. Dang, that's going to stink for him.
Now, elsewhere on the hardwood, Tennessee fans feel like they're about to get some good news. I thought that was you. Making the sound. That is the sound Robert makes whenever talents like Juke Harris leave his beloved ACC. And there is growing noise that Juke Harris is destined to play for Tennessee, as Pete Nakos put in his official prediction, his crystal ball on 3 Sports, that the Vols would acquire Juke Harris, who is ranked, depending on where you look, as one of the highest-rated portal prospects in all of college basketball.
Are you sure that wasn't Pete Nakos?
I do double-check now to make sure it's not Pete Nakos.
And no 3? Why would you do that to Steve Forbes, a former Tennessean? Why would you not do him the favor of letting him keep Juke Harris? He hasn't let Wake Forest make the tournament. They haven't even won the ACC, but they've had 2 ACC Players of the Year while he's been there. Stop taking his talent. Let Steve Forbes do his thing. I don't care that he looks like one of those blow-up dolls that used to punch as a kid, and they'd like wobble back and then come back and forth. I don't care that he looks like that he looks like a bowling pin. Let him win something at Wake Forest. I love Steve Forbes.
You do have an affinity for Steve Forbes, don't you?
Just such a cool dude, man. He throws a Halloween party every year, and I was lucky enough to be invited to one of them.
Oh.
Dude, that guy can throw a party. It was awesome.
Very cool. So you were kind of part of the media contingent that caught the invite?
He invited my host, and then my host got a +1, so I was able to attend.
Very cool. Very cool.
I was a mummy. I was wrapped up in Charmin.
There was a time where Steve Forbes was looked at as the heir apparent to be the head coach at Tennessee. I want to say that was a big discussion when Konzo was the coach here, but 6 years at Wake Forest, not one NCAA tournament appearance.
It's tough,
That's
man.
crazy.
He's just in a tough spot.
Yeah.
But Juke Harris, again, and as I talked about, he's had 2 ACC Players of the Year. He's really good at finding talent, not great at keeping them.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you were able to add Juke Harris, I think it would add a lot to that basketball team.
It would push everything over the top. I think you would see Tennessee with the number 1 rated portal class in wherever you look, right? 24/7 Sports, On3 Sports. Depending on where you look, I do think there would be opinions that this is the best portal class in the country if they can land Juke Harris, which it seems to be trending that way. But a 3-level scorer, over 21 points per game last year, 6.5 rebounds per game. To Robert's point, one of the best players in the ACC, 6'7", 200 pounds. Just a guy that can take over games. Where you look at what Tennessee's brought in the portal, they've addressed a ton of needs. They could probably stand to add more in the front court, maybe another depth rim protector. But they've addressed a ton of needs. They've brought in shooters. They've brought in players that can carry the ball up the floor, that can take over games, like a Terrence Hill Jr. We just watched him do it against UNC for VCU, 34 points in that crazy comeback upset in the first round in March. But Juke Harris, if you're looking for a guy that can finally just clear everybody out of the way, a la Dalton Connect, man, Juke Harris feels like that guy. He's been mulling the NBA. He's been mulling other options in the portal. And it feels like Tennessee is in a really good spot here. And if you land Juke Harris, if you're Tennessee, you're not going to be able to shy away from Final Four expectation, right? Even last year, there was not this expectation to even get to an Elite Eight. There was so much turnover. Yes, the roster was really talented. The possibilities were exciting, but there were just so many questions, right? Will Nate Ament be able to develop quickly enough? Will Jacoby Gillespie be able to do what he did at Maryland in an even bigger role at Tennessee without a star 2-guard to kind of support him? There were a lot of questions last year. They ended up playing their best ball at the best time, getting to a 3rd straight Elite Eight. But make no mistake, Juke Harris commits to Tennessee, then it's Final Four or bust, man. I mean, that's why you're doing this. Danny White and this program doing everything in its power to get Rick Barnes to that first Final Four.
So it seems like your fears of Rick Barnes not being able to field a team worthy of a Final Four expectation have been quelled. Have your fears also been quelled about Kim Caldwell after talking at the Big Orange Caravan? Because she had a lot of swirling questions around her as well going into next season.
Yeah, she went out and the talent profile of the roster is going to be less than what it was last year. But maybe that's not such a bad thing for players that can just come in, that will fit in her system, that you're not trying to put a square peg into a round hole. And to your point, she answered questions in Nashville, and this was from Gentry Estes of the Tennessean. Kim Caldwell said, quote, "I tried to swing too hard, too fast," talking about last season's roster. She said Gentry wrote, "She tried to change too much. She chased rankings in recruiting all the same type of player." And this is coming from Kim Caldwell to Gentry Estes. So this is kind of an inward-looking offseason for Kim Caldwell, and expectations will be that she rights the ship. And if she doesn't, it's hard to imagine her being the head coach of the Lady Vols past 2027. So a lot of interesting things going on. We will stay tuned. It feels like Juke Harris news could drop here in the next couple of hours. I heard Chris Lowe on the Rocky Top Insider podcast also saying it sounds like Tennessee is in really good position. So it will set expectations sky high for Tennessee basketball next season, no doubt. There is one draft pick in the Titans 2026 class I feel like we have not talked about enough on this show that could play a sneaky big role this season. We'll talk about it next.
You look at
Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical is here to help you, because there's nothing worse than a plumbing, HVAC, or electrical emergency, because you don't know what it will cost or how quickly it will get fixed, or if it will even get fixed correctly, or if someone's just trying to upsell you on something because you don't understand the full scope of the problem. That's where Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical comes in. They've been in business as a family-owned and operated company for over 30 years, and they're going to make sure that you understand exactly what the problem is and that the price you're told is the price you'll actually pay. There's no upcharges when you get your bill. Hiller's techs are vetted and incredibly trustworthy. You even get a link to track your tech in real time once one is assigned to you, so you don't waste your time waiting around for your appointment. HappyHiller.com is where you go. Their phrase is happy you'll be, or the service is free. That's the Happy Hiller promise. So visit them online today at happyhiller.com.
11:04, good morning from the Circus Sports at the Mint Kentucky Downs studio. I'm Lucas Panzica. Titans rookies hit the field this morning for rookie minicamp at Vanderbilt Health Training or Football Center. Head coach Robert Salah started meeting with the media at 10:45. You can hear it coming up at 12:20. The Titans confirmed numbers for the 2026 draft class. Number 4 overall pick Carnell Tate will wear 14 at receiver. Edge rusher Keldrick Falk will wear 15. Running back Nick Singleton to wear 32. Nashville Soccer Club leaps back into MLS play Saturday as the Eastern Conference leaders. They visit Philadelphia Union for a 6:30 kickoff. Pregame coverage on The Zone starts at 6. For all your foundation repairs and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone. Hour number 2, welcome back to the show. We are fueled by Hattie B's Hot Chicken. Be sure to download the Hattie B's app today. Start to stack those rewards. Any one of their 7 Middle Tennessee locations, soon to be 8, with the East Nashville one opening soon. And that's not even including Geodis Park, which makes it 9 Hattie B's, the best hot chicken in the world. Lucas and Robert with you until 1 o'clock. Buck is off to Titans rookie minicamp, where Robert Salah, I believe, is still meeting with Titans media, introducing, essentially, the offseason program. The UDFA class is in. If I'm not mistaken, 6 of the Titans' 8 draft picks from the class of 2026 have been signed, and we get underway. Integrating these players, we mentioned the rookie numbers have dropped. Carnell Tate wearing 14, going from his college number of 17. Keldrick Falk keeping the 15 he wore at Auburn. Nick Singleton, the Penn State running back, to wear 32. And I feel like Nick Singleton, Robert, may be the most under-discussed draft pick, at least for us on this show, of this class so far, right? We've talked about Carnell Tate, obviously, ad nauseum, as the number 4 overall pick. Keldrick Falk and the fit that he can be for Robert Salah, a developmental pass rusher, but somebody that absolutely has the tools and, by all accounts, the character to get it going quickly in his NFL career. Anthony Hill, a lot of people like, the linebacker out of Texas. We'll have Mike Herndon on, by the way, coming up at 11:20, who will share his thoughts on this draft class. Looking forward to that. Pat Coogan, Fernando Carmona, how they fit in to the competition on the interior of the offensive line. But we've hardly discussed the Penn State running back, Nick Singleton, who was a pivotal part of that Penn State run to the college football playoff and the 2024 season. And he's essentially shared the backfield with Katron Allen the whole way. They were roommates. They came into Penn State together. Nicholas Singleton was the higher-rated player coming out. Was a 5-star prospect, number 1 overall player in the state of Pennsylvania.
I think he's top 30 nationally. Is what's listed on his draft profile.
Big-time prospect coming out in the class of 2022. And he and Katron Allen, I mean, dead even in terms of their numbers in 2024. Allen with 220 carries, Singleton 172 carries. Allen 1,108 rush yards, Singleton 1,099 rush yards.
They became the first Penn State running back duo to both rush for 1,000 yards in Penn State history.
Combined for 20 touchdowns. Singleton had 12 of those 20 touchdowns. He was the more impactful player catching the ball out of the backfield as well. 41 catches in that 2024 season for 375 yards and 5 touchdowns. Nicholas Singleton had a monster 2024. And we saw Katron Allen kind of pass him a little bit in terms of the workload in 2025. Ended up being Penn State's lead back this past season. Nothing went well, really, for Penn State in 2025, obviously with the firing of James Franklin. Katron Allen, though, interestingly, was still on the board when the Titans were up in the 5th round. And they selected Nicholas Singleton at 165 overall. Katron Allen ends up going in the 6th round, 187 overall, to the Washington Commanders. So in a draft where we talked a ton about the running back position as it pertains to the Titans, but almost strictly about Jeremiah Love, potentially with the number 4 overall pick, the Titans do come away with the running back, and it ends up being Nicholas Singleton. You come into 2026, both Tony Pollard and Tajay Spears are going into the last year of their deal. Tony Pollard is coming off a career season. And obviously things got better as the year went on in the run game. The offensive line gelled a little bit. It was healthier. They committed to it in that last month of the season. But Tony Pollard, who just turned 29, is going into 2026, going into the last year of his deal, with Tyjae Spears still yet to prove that he can be healthy for the majority of the season, that he can stack games that way. Robert, if we're not that far removed, in my mind, not that much has to happen for Nicholas Singleton to, of course, he has to show it, but for him to be this team's lead back going into 2027, like that doesn't feel very far-fetched, does it?
No, not at all. I mean, and you would expect them to probably add another one in free agency, add another one in the draft next year. But as far as guys who have experience in the room and experience actually playing, like I would make the argument that Singleton's going to play more than Chestnut or Mullings have in their entire careers. Like he would be put in a position to, especially if it's a position you're talking about where they don't retain Pollard or Spears going into next year. But I mean, my question would be, how much workload does he get when those other two guys are already integral parts of the offense? Like, do they have to work him in? Does he have certain packages? Like, where do they find time to actually put him in? Or are you waiting for an injury?
Yeah, I don't know what has to happen to get to that point. Nick Singleton is coming off, like we said, a season where the production dropped off in 2025. Now, Penn State played fewer games. That run took them to 15 games in 2024. Obviously, just played the 12. He opted out of the bowl game this past year. He only started 4. He had 549 yards, an average of 4.5 yards per carry, still had 13 rushing touchdowns. A goal line back, he had 24 catches for 219 yards and a touchdown. So we did see that production drop, also a big impact in the kick return game. Here is what Dane Brugler writes about Titans' 5th-round pick, running back Nick Singleton out of Penn State in The Beast, his draft guide via The Athletic. Part of his summary about Nick Singleton. Brugler writes, Singleton is muscled up with the explosive speed to be a one-cut runner and home run threat. Though he's one of the most impressive pound-for-pound athletes in the class, he is an inconsistent decision-maker at the line of scrimmage and more likely to run into contact rather than gear down, anticipate, and find an escape route. Overall, Singleton can be a frustrating watch because of his inconsistent run discipline and vision, but he offers big play potential with an exceptional blend of size and speed. From day one, his pass catching and kick return skills will expand the ways in which an NFL team can utilize talent. Obviously, it's not likely Nick Singleton has an impact in the kick return game with Chimere Dike coming back into his second year in the NFL, but it just feels like he's going to have opportunity after opportunity, especially as a player that was brought in by this administration, unlike Tyjae Spears and Tony Pollard. Tony Pollard at his age, you're probably getting out at the right time, right after the 2026 season.
Yeah, and just letting him walk. Just
right.
go play second fiddle to somebody who can use you.
Yeah. And Tyjae Spears would have to do something he's not done to this point in his career for the Titans to seriously consider signing him to a second contract. So I'm looking at Nick Singleton as a guy that, and we're going to talk about it later on in the show, sort of ranking Titans drafted rookies in terms of likelihood of starting. Nick Singleton maybe should be in the top half of that list, right? Would any of us be particularly shocked if Nick Singleton is RB1 heading into the month of December this season?
I would be surprised. What would have to happen? Would it be an injury that does that, or you think he just naturally starts getting carries because they're looking towards the future? Like, I mean, I feel like that would be a situation if they were losing and they were like, okay, let's capitalize on the guys that are going to be here next year and start building. Like, in your mind, what would be the best scenario for that to happen?
Nothing injury related. Not to say anything like that falls under quote best scenario, but for this scenario to take place, it just feels like it's so on the table for Tyjae Spears to miss chunks of time again, and for Singleton to kind of emerge in that backfield, and then by the end of the year, be part of that two-headed tandem with Tony Pollard. And to your point, it feels like would depend on the status of the Titans at that point in the season and how much they're looking on to 2027. And there's just a real scenario where Nick Singleton, by the end of the 2026 season, feels like the team's immediate future at running back, I guess would be the way to put it. 615-737-1045 is the number. You can jump in on 1045 The Zone TV as well, the F&M Bank chat. Bryce says, I would be shocked if Singleton is RB1 this year. Two-Tone Blues says, Singleton by week 14, he's getting the rock a lot. Jonah says, a Tyjae Spears breakout year would be hype, but low-key kind of would piss me off because, like, bro, where's it been at? On the sidelines?
That was the most.
This is why we love the F&M Bank chat.
This is the most young guy. How old is the person that sent this in? A Spears breakout would be hype, but low-key kind of pissed me off because, like, bro, where's it been at?
Or it sounds like somebody in their 50s that's just trying to. Like, bro, is Spears chopped or what?
I mean, someone else asked what happened to Khalil Mullings. What did happen? Nothing. He was a 6th-round pick.
He's still around.
He's still around, but, I mean, he's probably going to be a practice squad guy. I mean, converted linebacker into being a running back, only been playing the position like 3 or 4 years. I mean, that's going to be his job. If he ends up being a high-level 4th-string special teams player, you probably got what you wanted to get out of that cat. I wouldn't expect him or Julius Chestnut to make any real waves in this running back room after the additions of Singleton and Carter.
Now, Nick Singleton, for what it's worth, did not work out at the Combine. He dealt with a broken metatarsal during the Senior Bowl. But we're talking about a player, and this is a bit of a trend, I think, with this draft class. Highly recruited player, stayed in the same school, did not transfer during his time at Penn State. The same can be said for Carnell Tate, for Keldrick Falk, for I was about to say Pat Coogan. He obviously did transfer, playing the tail end of his career at Indiana. But Nick Singleton, we're talking about a guy that broke Penn State school records in all-purpose yardage with over 5,500 in career touchdowns, with 55 total, despite the fact that he was splitting time with his roommate and another running back that was drafted on day 3 of this draft in Katron Allen. So the Titans, it felt like it was very plausible we're going to come away with the running back. Like, how would this discussion be different if Jeremiah Love was there at 4 and the Titans had taken him, do you think? How much would we be talking about Jeremiah Love in 2026 as it pertains to the Titans running back room and the depth chart with Tony Pollard and Tyjae Spears?
Ask me that one more time, because my brain just farted in the middle of that.
How do you think we would be talking about Jeremiah? If Love had been available and the Titans had selected him at 4, how do you think we would be talking about Love? Would he be RB1? Day 1?
I mean, it's
number 4 overall pick.
It's kind of the same conversation about what's going on with where he got selected with the Cardinals. What's the breakdown? Where does Connor get in? It
is similar, isn't it?
Where does Tyler Algier? I think the report was Tyler Algier signed there expecting to be the lead back. So in the sales pitch to him was, you're going to be the guy getting the bulk of the carries. Connor.
They Kirk Cousins him.
Right, 100% they Kirk Cousins him. Connor's probably going to be your goal line back, be your bruiser, be your short yardage guy. Algier could also be that. So I imagine Love would fill in the blanks of where neither of those guys fit in. I wouldn't imagine they would give Love the bulk of the carries. I mean, I would expect it to be a little closer to 50-50, but a good case study into this would be Bijan's rookie year.
Yeah.
Because when he got there, Tyler Algier is coming off a 1,000 yards rushing season.
Poor Tyler Algier, man. What's he got to do?
What year was that?
What's he got to do to be a team's lead back? Bijan's what, 2-3 years into the league?
I think this is his 3rd year. Bijan, this will be his 4th year. So 2023, I'll look up the Falcons. Don't worry, I'll do the research.
But to your point, we'd be talking about how Jeremiah Love fits into that in 2026 had he been drafted by the Titans in this hypothetical. Now we're talking about it with Nick Singleton. And I don't know. I don't know how much of a drop-off there is on how much Jeremiah Love would impact or how many snaps he would garner in 2026 compared to Nick Singleton. That's what we're getting set to find out, I guess.
I think you would agree with me that Tyler Algier has more value now to the Cardinals than he did as a sophomore in the NFL to the Falcons. Can we agree on that?
Sure.
So even at a lesser valued rate, Tyler Algier compared to Bijan Robinson. Bijan Robinson rushed 214 times for 976 yards and 4 touchdowns. Tyler Algier rushed for 186 times for 683 yards and 4 touchdowns. So a separation of roughly 30-ish rushing snaps. Would that surprise you if that's the breakdown? I would be surprised if Algier wasn't the Bijan in this scenario. If Love was the guy who got 30 less carries than Algier. But remains to be seen.
So to apply that here, how surprising would that be if take out Jeremiah Love, replace it with Nick Singleton, take out Tyler Algier, replace it with Tony Pollard? To see them that close together in workload at the end of 2026.
I think it would be difficult to do that for me because Pollard is old, has a longer in the tooth runway than Algier did. So I think it would be easier to get Love snaps here than it would be over a guy that just signed a pretty fat running back deal.
Well, somebody that's far smarter than us in these situations is set to join us next. Let's hear what Mike Herndon has to say coming up on 104.5 The Zone. Welcome back to the show, fueled by Hattie B's Hot Chicken. Getting ready to chat with Mike Herndon on all things Titans draft class. Robert Salah is done meeting with the media as rookie minicamp gets kicked off today. We'll carry on through the weekend. Buck is out there at practice. Robert and myself with you until 1 o'clock. And before we talk to Mike, maybe we get his thoughts on this. How about Robert Salah? This is reading straight from Terry McCormick. Salah saying that the Titans draft picks will not do a full practice today. Instead, they will do baseline tests with strength and conditioning coaches. They have been traveling and visiting places, according to Salah, going through the draft process. He says it stems from seeing Dante Fowler tear his ACL back at his rookie minicamp. So Titans draft picks will not really be on the field getting any actual work in today. I assume that to mean the UDFA class will be on the field for Titans media to go out and take in. So maybe some risk reward there for Robert Salah and the Titans. Mike Herndon getting ready to join us on 104.5 The Zone. You can follow him at Mike Herndon, SK1. You can read him, teamsk1.com. Always some good stuff. PaulKaharski.com, of course, where you can find all of his Titans content. Mike, how we doing? Good, man. Still kind of trying to digest everything that we've learned about what the Titans 2026 class is going to look like. What do you make of Robert Salah saying that the Titans draft picks won't be getting any work in on the field during rookie minicamp other than team stretch? Does that mean anything to you? Does it pop up on your radar one iota?
I don't think it really matters. The only disappointing thing is we won't get the thirst trap Carnell Tate videos that surely would have come out of that. But I don't think it's a big deal. I understand his reasoning. It sounds like he was burned in the past, and these guys spend so much time training for the combine and doing things like that they have not been in football training for a while. So it kind of makes sense to me. Get these guys on the field and be careful with them from a physical standpoint. So you're not putting them into risk of getting hurt right out of the chute just to, get a couple days running routes on air against, a bunch of guys that are not going to make the team.
Yeah. Titans fans going to have to wait a little longer for those thirst trap videos of Carnell Tate. What do you come away with most excited about now that, the dust has settled a little bit? You've marinated on this 8-man draft class. What keeps flashing through your head when you're thinking ahead to the Titans 2026 season that brings you the most excitement from this group?
It's hard not to go with Carnell Tate just because I think he's going to be the biggest impact guy right away. And something that the Titans haven't had since A.J. Brown and a receiver that has a tremendous skill set and the potential to be a wide receiver one. And honestly, I think with his kind of professional approach, his skill set, the way he played, the wide receiver factory he came out of at Ohio State, I think he's going to be able to step in right away, and he may be wide receiver one from day one. As they hit the field this fall. So Carnell Tate certainly, and then from there, I think the fit of guys like Keldrick Falk and Anthony Hill in Robert Salah's defense has me excited. And then beyond that, I think that just the leadership of this group and the kind of people they're bringing into the building. Bergonzi has talked about, building the culture and building it by bringing in the right kind of people. He is putting his money where his mouth is with these draft classes, because they are pretty much, if you go through and read, any scouting report or talk to anybody who has worked with these guys, almost to a man, these are great guys. These are A+, people that are coming to the building and going to work. So I think if you're building a culture, that's a pretty good place to start. I think those would be the biggest things that I'm excited about coming out of the draft.
Mike Herndon, our guest on 104.5 The Zone, at Mike Herndon SK1 is where you can follow him for all his Titans thoughts on Twitter. You are based in Austin. You are a Texas guy. How excited were you when you saw Anthony Hill's name come across the screen? What kind of value do you feel the Titans got for where they drafted him and the maybe instant impact he can make in this defense?
Yeah, and I promise to set my burnt orange glasses aside, although it probably won't sound like I am, because this is a player I really liked legitimately. He's got everything you want from a skill set standpoint, 6'2", 240, runs a 4.51, I believe, at the combine in the 40. So speed, range, athleticism, checks every box. And then stuff the box score at Texas, right? This is a guy that walked on the field as a true freshman at Texas, was their middle linebacker, and within like 6 games, I think, of his Texas career starting. And then obviously as a sophomore put up just, stupid production. And I think, he had an injury last season that cost him a little bit of time, towards the end of the season there. And, he did not put up quite the same numbers that he did the previous year. And this is an interesting thing for me that I feel like it's like a quarter-baked idea, but I feel like I need to explore it more. But I'm just intrigued by, like, with Nick Singleton and Anthony Hill. If both of those guys had come out after 2024, they probably go a lot higher in the draft, right? Just coming off of the production that they had in their junior. Well, Anthony Hill could not have come out, of course, but if he had been able to, does he come off the board in the top 20 picks in the draft. Yeah, he was widely talked about as a top 15, certainly first round kind of player a year ago. So I'm intrigued to see, like, if we went back and looked at all the guys who maybe fell over the course of their final season in college, but had been considered potential first round or early picks previously, how those guys typically fare relative to draft value. And that could be a good off-season project for me when we get to these long summer months coming up. But anyways, I think Hill is a guy that is a great fit for the Titans defense and what Robert Salah wants to do. And he's going to be a guy that's a leader, is going to be, everything you want in a middle linebacker. And I think he'll be a starter right away.
Well, and that's an interesting point because that level of drop-off happened, I think, with Keldrick Falk as well. Just if we're box score scouting in terms of the numbers straight up. And Nick Singleton, maybe the most glaring example of that, we were just having a discussion about this. We talked so much about running back in connection with this draft, but all around Jeremiah Love with the number 4 overall pick. They obviously still address the position, but do it in the 5th round. But do it with a player that still played at an extraordinarily high level in college and was part of the best 1-2 running back punch in all of college football in 2024. And yes, the production dropped off, but with Tony Pollard and Tyjae Spears both going into the last year of their deals, Mike, is it crazy to think that we go towards the end of 2026 down a path where Nick Singleton looks like the favorite to be RB1 for this team in 2027?
I definitely don't think that's out of the question. I mean, you talked about, he was a huge recruit coming into Penn State, 5-star guy, like a lot of these guys in this class, frankly, were. And, puts up a monster freshman season, a little bit of a dip as a sophomore, and then another monster season as a junior. And everyone, I think, probably had him a lot higher before a season that, look, he, Katron Allen, took most of the early down work at Penn State, and Penn State was just a mess last year. So I don't know how much you want to pin that specifically on Nick Singleton. But yeah, this is a guy that's super talented. And frankly, if he'd run at the combine, if it had not been for the foot injury, I bet he goes higher as well, because I think he would have pushed, the Mike Washington 4.33 range in the 40. I think he would have been right around there. Because this dude is a monster athlete, super explosive. The vision stuff is a legit concern, but I think he could earn. I'm really interested to see how quickly he gets into the mix in the third down stuff, because I think he could push Tyjae Spears out of that role potentially early this year. And if he does, that's kind of his gateway to earning more reps and earning more snaps and potentially positioning himself for that lead back role in 2027. But yeah, I think that's absolutely in play for a guy like Singleton, who, he does not lack for talent. That is for certain.
I mean, it's in play for, not to go about it sounding crass, but for Tyjae Spears almost to do that for him, right? If the injury issues pop up the way they have for Tyjae so far in his Titans career. Mike Herndon is with us on 104.5 The Zone, giving us a house tour as well on 104.5 The Zone TV. A little HGTV mixed in today. I apologize if I did not tell you would be on camera, but I do not think we've gotten a good look at the foyer of the entrance of your house. If you could maybe walk past that here during this next question.
Yeah, let's go. I'm a wanderer. I like a walk and talk.
No, this is
like
good.
The West Wing.
Keeps the blood flowing. That's perfect. So
that's right.
You mentioned all these guys, almost all of these guys coming out as sort of blue chip recruits out of high school. Is that the trend that caught your eye the most of these 8 players?
Definitely, that's a big part of it. Because if you look at that group, especially with, Tate, Falk, Hill, Singleton. I mean, absolutely all those guys, 5-star recruits coming out and then played at one school the entire time they were there, which I think is an interesting trend to kind of monitor moving forward. I mean, obviously Cam Ward transferred a ton. So I don't think it's like Mike Bergonzi is going to rule you out if you're a transfer guy, but it's something that is just an interesting commonality across, the guys that they took this year. But yeah, and I think it's also an interesting trend that Tate, Falk, Hill, all three of those guys, they played early. So they were starters as true sophomores, their second years on campus, and 19 years old, and were productive early. And I think that tends to be a pretty good indicator. And that's, something that a lot of the kind of more data driven folks that study the draft look for, is like early breakout age. And they find that to be a pretty good indicator of future NFL success. And it makes sense, especially when you're comparing these guys to some of these prospects, especially now that we've got the COVID guys, the guys with the COVID year, plus the NIL stuff. I mean, you had a bunch of guys in this draft that started college in 2020 and had been in college for 6 or 7 seasons. And, those guys were 23, 24 years old, playing against Carnell Tate and Anthony Hill and Keldrick Falk, who were 19 and 20. That's a massive difference when you've got 5 years in a college weight program and college nutrition program, and you're competing against a guy with 2 years who's also, 4 years younger than you and not even at his physical prime yet. So I think it's an interesting trend that they got a lot of these guys that were younger. Now, it's not an exclusive thing like Carmona, Coogan. Those are older guys. Those guys have been in programs for a while. So, and now those guys did not take forever to break out, though. They started by, I think, their redshirt sophomore years at most in Coogan's case. And I think Carmona was a first-year starter in his first stop in college. So, I think that's another interesting trend, though, that across this group.
Anything that stuck out to you in particular on the UDFA haul as they hit the field today for rookie minicamp?
Yeah, I think it's a really strong UDFA haul, frankly. Tyron Montgomery is a guy that's going to get a lot of attention just because of his path, going from not playing football at all to, picking up flag football. And then, he plays at Nicholls State and eventually ends up at John Carroll and breaks out there and gets the Senior Bowl invite and then does really well at the Senior Bowl. So he's going to be a guy that's intriguing to watch as they get going with rookie minicamp and into training camp. And, the Titans fans love a UDFA receiver. So I would imagine he'll be a popular kind of guy to watch coming up. But the two guys that I have my eye on the most, Bishop Fitzgerald and Emil Wagner. Fitzgerald, the safety from USC, and Wagner, the tackle from Notre Dame. Both guys were draftable players to me, and Fitzgerald had monster production. I think he had 5 interceptions last year. He had a lot of fans in the draft process, and I was pretty shocked he didn't get selected at some point. And he ran 4.55, so maybe that's it, that it's just a concern about athleticism. But the guy is instinctive and made a ton of plays in college. And I don't really need a 4.3 safety necessarily. I need a guy who knows where the ball's going and how to get there before the ball does, frankly. And that's something that, Kevin Byard wasn't a burner. He's got some Kevin Byard to him. I'm not saying he's going to be anywhere close to as good as Kevin Byard, but there's a similar kind of athlete versus instinct mix there with Bishop Fitzgerald. And look, they don't have a ton of safeties you feel great about. Hooker and Winston are going to be the starters. Tony Adams will play. But after that, you're competing against Mike Brown. I think Bishop Fitzgerald has a pretty good shot at getting on this roster. And then the same for Emil Wagner. The Titans have a really big problem, I think, as a swing tackle behind the starters with Dan Moore and J.C. Latham. And Emil Wagner only allowed 1 sack last year at Notre Dame. He's got prototypical size, length. He's a pretty good athlete. Only played right tackle, so I think it'll be interesting to see how much work he gets at left tackle and how he does kind of flipping over there as well. But that's a guy I could see making this roster, although I still think there's a veteran probably coming at some point for that swing tackle spot. But we'll see.
Where do you find yourself having the most concern then coming out of the draft? Still moves to be made, obviously, still free agents that can be brought in, depth pieces that can be brought in. But what would you say is the weakest link at this point on this roster heading into minicamp?
I mean, certainly offensive line stands out. I like the guys that they drafted in Coogan and Carmona, and I think from a mental standpoint and an experience standpoint, those are two guys that, I think Coogan started 42 games in college. Carmona started 49. There's no reason they can't come in and play pretty early from a mental standpoint, experience standpoint. So it'll be very interesting to see how they shake out in this mix. But I don't know where Jackson Slater is development-wise. I'm sure they would love for him to take one of the spots, whether it's center or guard. It sounds like he's been working more at guard this offseason. So if he's your right guard and then you get either Coogan or Austin Schlottman at center, I don't know. I mean, we just don't know enough about any of these guys to feel great about projecting them into the starting lineup and how they're going to perform. But they've got a lot of options. I guess you hope one emerges or two emerge, I guess, for those two spots. And then I think there's always the bat phone sitting there in the corner of, hey, these guys are struggling. We need to, call Kevin Zeitler, call, Greg Van Roten, call Joel Bitonio and get them in here and just plug a spot at that right guard spot. So it'll be interesting, but that and swing tackle too. Austin Deculus provides very little confidence in my opinion. And Brandon Crenshaw Dixon, I don't know. I don't think he's a good enough athlete to play in the NFL, frankly. So it's going to be very interesting to see where those spots shake out. But I've got depth concerns at tackle and starting concerns on two of the interior spots. So offensive line, and I think that's probably everybody's answer, but that's definitely standing out.
Yeah, and the one spot where you feel the best right now at left guard and Peter Skoronski, we learned yesterday the Titans did exercise the fifth-year option on Skoronski. Is that of note to you that a long-term deal has not been done with Skoronski yet?
Not yet, and we haven't gotten enough of a track record with Borgonzi to know how he's going to handle those things. I know John Robinson always liked to give extensions right at the beginning of training camp. That was kind of his time frame. You remember, Taylor Lewan coming in with a Boss Hog outfit, right in the first week of camp. And I think that was intentional to give the guys a chance to celebrate that player with, the teammates and the whole team being around. So I don't know if Borgonzi will follow the same pattern, but I think this was just, a mere formality, locking up his rights for that fifth-year option, and in case they do hit an impasse at some point during the negotiations. But my guess is this still gets done before the season starts.
Mike Herndon has been our guest. Mike, appreciate the time. Next time we have you on, if we could get the second floor of your house, and we'll go from there.
Oh, there is no second floor. It's ranch style, baby. Well, the only way to go.
Nice. Mike Herndon coming from the Lone Star State with us on 104.5 The Zone. You can read him at paulkaharski.com.
Thanks,
Find
guys.
him on Twitter at Mike Herndon, SK1. Thank you, man. Appreciate the time.
Bye, guys. See you. I already told him to go. Sorry, that was my fault.
Oh. You didn't even let me say goodbye.
You did say goodbye. You said goodbye like 7 times.
Why doesn't Mike Herndon get an I love you from you?
How do you know I didn't give him one?
You're right.
How do you know I didn't give him one in his ear and said, hey, Mike, I love you.
You're right.
I love you, Mike.
You know what else you're going to give to people?
What's that?
Whatever we have to give away for Friday Fire coming up next.
Dude, we are stacked for Friday Fire.
What do we got?
If you missed your chance to get Shabuzi tickets earlier in the week, we've got Shabuzi tickets with the addition of 2 tickets to see the install live tonight with Greg Cosell, Titans general manager Mike Borgonzi, going over the free agency class, going over the draft class, drinking tequila out of nipple bottles. Dude, the whole night's going to be crazy, and you can be there if you can tell us what's your Friday Fire. What's the best thing that happened to your week? What's the thing that made your whole week? Give us a call, 615-737-1045.
So we're talking about 1 winner, 2 prizes.
1 winner, 2 prizes, 2 tickets, Shabuzi, install, great weekend.
You heard the man, 615-737-1045. The best submission for what made you feel good this week is headed to both Shabuzi and the install tonight at the Hutton Hotel with Greg Cosell and Mike Borgonzi. Friday Fires next. 615-737-1045 is the number. Shabuzi tickets and install tickets to the live show tonight.
Woo-wee! I can't wait, dude. I'm so excited.
That's what's on the line. I am legitimately bummed to be missing out on the party tonight.
I bet. I bet. Oh, it really sucks that I have to go to another country in Europe. It really sucks that I have to go out of the country for a vacation.
Well, I can still have FOMO, okay? I'm going to be at the Boston airport while you guys are having fun. I'm just going to be sitting there waiting around to catch a flight overnight in which I'm not going to sleep a lick, right? Are you a sleeper on planes?
Dude, I'm a drop like a log guy.
I'm so jealous.
You can't sleep on a plane?
I think if I could pick a superpower after teleportation, it would be the ability to, like, if they told me you can't just snap your fingers and just be in another place, and they ruled that out, it would be to just be able to fall asleep whenever I wanted for whatever period of time.
That would be the lamest. It's Nap Boy. Awesome. Everyone watch out for Nap Boy.
Oh, no, it would be completely useless. I wouldn't help anybody. But to be able to get on a plane, snap my fingers, and fall asleep for 8 hours and just wake up on the other side of the world,
so what
I would give. I watched like 4 movies in a row.
You're not even a little bit tired. Like, is it because you're not comfortable?
Yeah, I can't. I'll nod on and off. Like, my head's like dangling around, you know? And
like a newborn child.
Exactly. And I keep jerking awake. It's brutal.
I can't. As soon as we get in there, sometimes before we take off, Cheyenne hates when I do this. As soon as we get in the seat, I'll just sit my fat ass down and just and wake up and be like, how much longer do we have? We haven't even taken off yet. You have been asleep for 15 minutes. Like, I can't not fall asleep. Like, if I'm riding with someone somewhere, instant nap. Like, my parents were divorced, so when I was a kid, I'd spend the weekend at my dad's. He'd drive me back to my mom's late 8 o'clock-ish on Sundays. I would just be out, like, street lights passing as your dad drives you home to your mom's to go back to school the next week.
Yeah.
That will put me to sleep faster than anything, dude. My dad's probably like, I wish I could talk to my son before I have to give him back to his mean old mama, but this kid keeps falling asleep. If I was him, I'd be brake checking the hell out of me, throwing me in the floorboard. How dare this kid fall asleep? You only get to see me 2 days a week. Anyway.
Well, I do have a travel dilemma that I'd love to get your input on. Then maybe we do that in the next segment. But we've got too many cool things to give away to do that now. Friday Fire, what made you feel good? What's the most positive story you've seen this week? Can be in sports, can be in life, whatever it may be. This warmed my cold heart. This headline with the New York Post. And no, it has nothing to do with Mike Vrabel and Diana Rossini, which, by the way, I don't know if you guys saw the latest development on Diana Rossini and the car crash that not that she was involved in, if you haven't seen the headline, but that a few days after the Vrabel stuff dropped, there was a car wreck that Diana Rossini reportedly, drove up to help with, and her and another person were helping somebody out of the car that had flipped, and now they're saying that she actually wasn't part of helping them out of the car, but she was standing there and was present and a witness to the whole thing. Just a crazy, crazy development there. But that's not what we're here to talk about. This headline warmed my heart. The New York Post. How Live Golf blew $6 billion of Saudi Arabian cash in its high-priced failure. Oh, how nice is that to read? How nice is that to read and to know that sometimes the purely unmitigated, relentless, never-ending greed doesn't always have to win, right? In a time where the World Cup is expanding to 48 teams when nobody's asking for it to do that, the NCAA tournament is expanding to 76 teams, which nobody is asking for. God knows where we're headed with the college football playoff. It's nice to see that party loose sometimes. And in this case, that is Saudi Arabia's PIF, the private investment fund that has poured billions of dollars of blood money into this venture that has been a big middle finger to the PGA Tour, that has lured some of the best golfers on the planet away from the PGA Tour with paydays that cannot be refused. And it has gone down the drain. It has lost money. And now you're going to have all of these golfers crawling back to the PGA Tour in a situation that did not take long to crater. And maybe we get somebody smarter than us to come on here and talk about exactly how this happened and where we go from here in the golf world. But the PIF and Live Golf came in and said, no, we can do better than what this sport has been doing for over a century, and it fell flat on its face. And sometimes it's just refreshing to see.
It feels like you just don't like the Saudis. Is that what this is? You just don't want the Saudis to win? You just don't want them to have fun golf to watch?
Well, I don't like blood money coming in and, just taking a wrecking ball to institutions.
That money's still green.
That's all.
That money's still green.
What do you have?
My Friday Fire is simply the install tonight, but it's a special part of the install tonight. There are two things I look forward to, one with the install and one with zone events. The first is with the install. I love getting to corner Greg Cosell before anyone else gets there and go over Ravens draft picks. All right, let's start at the top, Greg. What do you think about Vega? Did you like the spot? You like what he's doing? You think Dwayne Ledford's going to be able to make that work? I mean, not the perfect scheme fit, but and corner him and not really let him leave. Because at the draft, I bought Greg at the table a box of Munchkins. And Greg was the only person to indulge in the Munchkins.
He ate all of them.
And when he left, he took the remainder of the Munchkins with him. So I feel I'm going to get my money's worth of these Munchkins out of Greg's ass in NFL draft knowledge tonight. That's number one. Number two, any event that Slay is emceeing, he's at, maybe he's just making an appearance, there is a point in the night where Slay will order a round of vodka shots, and they will be lukewarm. They will be warm Tito shots. Imagine straight out the tap milk from the cow udder. How warm that is, that's how warm the Tito shots are going to be. And it's just a rite of passage. Just a rite of passage that you take a lukewarm Tito shot with Slay. Those are the two things I'm looking forward to the most tonight. Those are my Friday Fires, but we have a number of people lined up to win Shabuzi tickets and 2 tickets to see the install tonight. And maybe you don't win tickets. Maybe you don't win Friday Fire. Maybe you don't win our noon giveaway of install tickets. All you got to do, go to 1045thezone.com, get your tickets there. $50. Hop in there. Come hang out tonight with us. Greg Cosell, Titans General Manager Mike Borgonzi.
Only a few tickets remaining. The QR code will be up during the break as well on 1045 The Zone TV. Donald in Nashville leads us off with his submission. Hey, Donald. Oh, Donald, you got to turn down your radio, buddy. Okay, Asia in Nashville will lead us off instead. Hey, Asia.
Hey, I'm here.
What you got?
Okay, so I was riding down Briley Parkway. Let me paint this picture really quick. I had a half a gallon of gas in my trunk for my lawnmower, riding up Briley Parkway, got to Lebanon Pike, seen a guy get out of his car and was running up Briley Parkway to Lebanon Pike. And I'm like, oh, my God, he needs help. So I was already ahead of him. I looked at my review, waited till he came up, and I said, hey, do you need gas? Did you run out of gas? He said, yes, I ran out of gas. I said, hey, I've got 2 gallons of gas in this gas can. You can take it right now. So he was like, yes, I really need it. So I gave it to him, found out that he was on his second day of work right here on Spence Lane. He took my gas can because I had to get off the interstate to get out of traffic. I got his number, got my gas can back, and he made it to work on time. He, literally was so nervous and so happy, and I felt like a superhero.
You are a superhero. Amazing. Well done, Asia.
Yay.
Be sure to stay on hold for your chance to win the tickets. Asia, a good Samaritan, saving that dude's skin on the second day of work. Well done by Asia. Great submission to lead us off here. Let's go to Harmon in Nashville next.
Hey, guys. My Friday Fire happened on Tuesday of this week. The NHL playoffs in Buffalo. The mic for the singer of the Canadian National Anthem went out, and in unison, 19,000 Buffalo fans started singing the Canadian National Anthem.
Yeah, I saw that, Harmon. That's a great submission. If we had time here, we would track down the audio and play it. It was really, really cool, especially for an American city. I understand Buffalo is steps away from the Canadian border, but very, very cool moment for them to swoop in the Sabres fans who are having a wild ride so far in their first NHL playoffs in I can't remember how long. Jonah and Franklin's next. Hey, Jonah.
Hey, what's up, y'all?
What you got?
Man, big Grizzlies fan. This week, seeing John Morant and Jaren out there supporting Bane, kind of bittersweet, but pretty cool. Glad to see Bane's doing good in Orlando. And then also, man, I'm a paramedic, and I passed my flight paramedic exam this week. So I've been studying for that for a few years. So super stoked to have that done.
Hey, congrats, Jonah. Stay on hold for your chance to win. Awesome. Awesome. Congratulations. You're going to help a lot of people in that career. Kevin in Clarksville's next. Kevin, what you got?
Hey, it's not about you. Sorry, I'm in the middle of work, but I'm not interested in your prizes, but I had to brag on my son. My oldest son was named General Education Teacher of the Year for the state of North Dakota, and it made me cry like a little baby.
Oh, very cool.
That's really cool, Kevin.
Sorry, what was it? Say again what he was named?
General Education Teacher of the Year for the state of North Dakota.
What does he teach?
Chemistry and physical science.
Wow, very cool. Congrats, Kevin. I'm sure that's an amazing moment as a dad. Very cool.
Yeah, there can only be 40 teachers in North Dakota.
Right. I mean, that's 1 out of 40 is pretty good, right? No, very cool honor for your family. Joey in Nashville will round us out here. Hey, Joey.
Yes, I've got another proud dad moment. I get to watch my daughter today walk at TSU as a grad speech pathologist. So she's got her graduate master's degree today. So I'm proud dad moment for me. So I just wanted to call in and tell everybody that.
Excellent. Thanks for sharing. Congrats to you guys. Enjoy it tonight. Very, very cool. A lot of folks walking and graduating around this time of year. Okay, so those are some great submissions. Again, the tradition remains. When Buck is gone, the positivity overflows during this segment. So Asia led us off with her story about being a good Samaritan on the road, giving a guy a tank of gas and saving him on his second day of work when she certainly did not have to do that. Harmon, with the Sabres fans stepping in and helping out the anthem singer with the Canadian national anthem. Jonah with Ja and Jaren Jackson supporting the former teammate Desmond Bain in the playoffs with the Magic and also passing his test to officially become a paramedic. And Joey, whose daughter is walking at TSU. Oh, man. This is brutal. Robert, who in the world do we give these tickets to? I mean, I may be partial to Asia, like to actually stop on the side of the road, see a person in distress, and help that person, and then to later find out just how much you helped that person for no gain of your own. I suppose in this case, the gain would be Shabuzi and install tickets, but she did not know that.
Right.
When she pulled over. I think Asia is my leader here.
Yeah, I'll go with Asia as well. She told a great story, too. I mean, no, it wasn't like, okay, get to the point, lady.
Yes.
Like, she told, and then she said, let me paint a picture. She painted a great picture.
Yes, so congrats to Asia. Congrats to everybody for being good humans this week, and appreciate you guys chiming in. Which Titans rookies are most likely to start week 1 of the 2026 NFL season? We'll rank them coming up next. It is 12:03. Good afternoon from the Circus Sports at the Mint Kentucky Downs 104.5 The Zone studio. I'm Lucas Panzica. Titans rookies are on the field as we speak for a rookie minicamp at Vanderbilt Health Football Center. But as Robert Salah laid out earlier this morning in his press conference, the draft class will not be practicing. They will be leaving the field after team stretch. Titans UDFAs will be on the field. You can hear Salah's press conference in its entirety coming up later on in this hour. Meanwhile, the Titans confirmed numbers for the 2026 draft class. Number 4 overall pick, Carnell Tate, will wear 14 at wide receiver. Edge rusher Keldrick Falk to wear number 15. Running back Nick Singleton will wear the number 32. The Titans made it official yesterday as well. They are exercising the fifth-year option on left guard Peter Skoronski. Nashville Soccer Club leaps back into MLS regular season play Saturday as the Eastern Conference leaders. They visit Philadelphia Union. 6:30 is the kickoff. Pregame coverage on The Zone begins at 6 p.m. For all your foundation repairs and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home. For the Titans and Vols, this is 104.5 The Zone. Final hour of the show, final hour of the week before the Install Live happens tonight. Mike Borgonzi and Greg Cosell will be in the house breaking down the Titans 2026 draft class from the Hutton Hotel. Still a select few tickets left to be bought. The link is in the 104.5 The Zone YouTube chat. The F&M Bank chat is also on the screen while we are in break, the QR code. Mike Borgonzi and Greg Cosell putting their heads together tonight right in front of you with a lot to talk about. Just so many different angles that the Titans addressed, right? So many needs that were addressed in this draft. Wide receiver, linebacker, edge rusher, running back, interior of the offensive line, and then depth in areas like tight end and defensive line with Jackie Marshall, the defensive lineman out of Baylor. So we're going to do an exercise here. As we played you the audio earlier in the show of Daniel Jeremiah and Charles Davis getting into it on NFL Network on the likelihood of Fernando Mendoza being an immediate or at the very least early starter for the Las Vegas Raiders. Let's get into that as it pertains to the Titans. Ranking the Titans' 8-man draft class based on likelihood of starting day one. We're talking about week 1 of the 2026 regular season. But before we do that, selfishly, let me do a buck thing here. I have a dilemma, Robert, that I would love your advice with. I would love anybody's advice with. 615-737-1045. As you know, I am flying out tonight, going to Portugal. I'll be gone the whole following week, vacation with my fiance's side of the family. We're very much looking forward to it. But I have a slight dilemma in that my flight that was scheduled to leave Nashville at 2:30 p.m., to connect in Atlanta, where I had an hour, 20-minute layover, connecting in Atlanta to get to Boston, where the flight to Lisbon leaves at about 11:30 Eastern time. The flight to Atlanta got delayed by about 35 minutes. So now my layover in Atlanta has been shortened to close to 45 minutes, which is, risky. Let's say the flight gets delayed one more time or it takes a long time to taxi and actually get us off the plane. I would risk cutting it very, very close. I went ahead and got a backup option, a 2:45 Southwest flight going straight from Nashville to Boston that I have already paid for. So, Robert, what do you think I should do? Should I go ahead and take the flight to Atlanta, assuming it leaves on time, and risk the short layover in Atlanta, but get my money back from the Southwest flight that I could cancel and get back or use as a credit for another flight? Or should I go ahead and hop on this Southwest flight at 2:45 p.m. that goes straight from Nashville to Boston and spend the money, not have to worry about potentially missing my connection and not having to have a layover in Atlanta? What would you do if this was you?
You didn't pay for your original tickets, though.
No, Megan, my future mother-in-law, very graciously, this was basically her Christmas gift to us.
Okay, so what I would do is I would have that other ticket in my back pocket just in case. And if you still have to take the layover, whatever, keep the money in your pocket. But if you think it starts to get pretty hairy and you're like, I don't know if we're going to make it, I'd take that straight away. But a Buck thing to do would just be to do it because Buck doesn't want to do a layover. I don't care. I'm frugal. I'm whatever any other word you want to use for that is. I am a penny pincher. So if I could save $300 and just use the flights her mama bought, that's what I'm going to do.
Two-Tone Blues is saying, don't miss your connection. Go ahead and take the Southwest flight. Eliminate any risk of missing your connection because that would be a complete and utter nightmare. Have I ever told you about the time that Megan and I very nearly missed our flight to Brazil when we were going back there last summer? Did I tell you about that fiasco?
Where you lost, didn't you lose some luggage or something like that? Or the French people were very snooty to you?
No, Megan was flying down to Atlanta from Detroit, and her flight from Detroit to Atlanta got delayed. We were flying from Atlanta to Rio, and it was getting closer and closer and closer. And then her flight did land with like 45 minutes to spare before the connecting flight to Rio, but the plane was like stuck in traffic right before they taxied. But the miracle, we were literally the last people to get on the plane because like the pilot was late and there was an unsupervised kid that was late. Just one thing after another. Nobody here cares about that. Kyle says, take the Southwest flight. Missing the connection is hell. Lot of people are saying I should just eat it and not get that money back from Southwest and just go ahead and take that flight and eliminate all of the risk. I'm getting texts now to go ahead and take the 2:45 flight.
To Boston?
Yeah. It would give me a 4-hour layover in Boston.
Who is saying that to you? Say their names. They just want you to spend money?
I don't know. I think it's something to weigh. Something to weigh.
Something to weigh. Does it mean it rhymes with Jay? Is it Jay telling you that? Is it seriously? He's not even in the chat all day and he wants to tell you about what to do?
He's not been in the chat today. 615-737-1045. You may be calling in to help me with my dilemma. You may be calling in to tell us who you think is most likely to start week 1 out of this 8-man Titans rookie draft class. So we'll get Robert's thoughts on it as well. I went ahead and ranked the players 1 through 8. Carnell Tate, the number 4 overall pick, is going to be a starter in this wide receiver rotation. And we talk about it all the time on this show, right? What that actually means to be a quote-unquote starter. At the end of the day, what matters is your impact. What matters is the packages that you're running, the amount of snaps that you're playing. But for the sake of this conversation, when that final depth chart before week 1 is in front of us, I fully expect Carnell Tate to be at the top of one of those wide receiver spots as the number 4 overall pick. And I think Anthony Hill Jr., who I put at 2, is the second most likely rookie out of this draft class to start at linebacker.
Okay, hold on. That's really important, but we can figure out who's starting at linebacker. Charlie in St. Petersburg has an urgent message for you about your airline ticket. I think we need to get to this now.
Okay.
Charlie, go ahead.
Hey, Lucas.
Go ahead.
Lucas, how are you?
Good, man. What you got?
I am a fan from St. Petersburg, and I'm not related to Dawn Davenport. But you need to check with your airline to make sure that original ticket, if you don't show up in that seat, that may cancel you because you have a through ticket all the way to Portugal, right?
That's correct.
So you should have that ticket. You got the Southwest ticket in the back pocket like somebody just told you.
Yep.
Work everything through your current airline. Just tell them, okay, I have a ticket that can get me to Boston, keep me on that plane or whatever. It's just something you really need to pay attention to.
Oh, so you think if I just didn't step foot on the flight from Nashville to Atlanta, that they could boot me because then I wouldn't be on the Atlanta to Boston flight? You think they could boot me from the Boston to Lisbon flight?
He skipped the flight. We don't know where he is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I had not thought about that angle, Charlie. Thank you very much.
Sounded like he was in a cockpit right now.
Did.
Charlie might be your pilot.
Sounds like he said St. Petersburg, like Russia?
He's on the way. I think Florida, but
okay.
Yeah. I think he's on the way up here with your plane. He's like, dude, we're overbooked. Sold too many seats, dude. You're screwed.
Zach Lyons texted me. He said, live life on the edge, take the original flight. He wants me to be a thrill seeker in this situation. I'm overwhelmed by the amount of advice I'm getting here. Thank you all. I appreciate it. It'll probably be a game time decision in the Uber on the way to the airport. Titanomics wants to actually talk about Titans, something people actually care about. What's up, Titanomics?
Yeah, man, I think Tate is going to be of course, I think he's going to be number 1. especially with Dayball, how he handled Neighbors last year. I think Tate would get that same shine. But, hey, man, I got a question for y'all. Did y'all see Los Angeles Times come out? I think it was this morning. And I think the person who wrote it, her name is Merjem Swanson. But she's talking about Nico being he's poised for Heisman this year, and talking about how Tennessee told him to go fly a kite, and UCLA said, come fly it here. And they're just bigging him up to be a Heisman runner-up this year. This is the Los Angeles Times. So I just thought that was crazy. But yeah.
Thanks for the call, Titanomics. I did just pull up the Heisman.
Yeah, read that first line. No, I thought you were talking about the article.
Oh, no, I'm talking about the FanDuel odds for the Heisman Trophy in 2026. The Nico Iamaleava, I mean, I'm scrolling. Plus 8,000.
Jeez.
He is tied with Connor Wegman. Where in the world is Connor Wegman playing now? Is he at Houston?
That's a great question.
The A&M transfer? Yeah, he's with the Houston Cougars. So Nico is at plus 8,000, tied with Devin Dampier, Connor Wegman, Drew Mestamaker, Jaron Q. Sagapolutele. Who are these quarterbacks?
Who's he starting for?
I don't know. Cam Coleman, the wide receiver. So, I mean, the likes of Bear Bachmeyer, Aaron Philo, the Georgia Tech transfer that's now at Florida, Austin Mack, who may not even start at Alabama, Byron Brown, the USF transfer that's now at Auburn. These are all Keelan Russell, Malachi Toney. These are all players ahead of Nico Iamaleava in the Heisman odds. Nico's a talented player, no question. I mean, if Nico Iamaleava has a far better season in 2026 than he did in 2025, none of us should be surprised. Bob Chesney, the new head coach out of James Madison. But it is interesting. You can't be talking about him as a Heisman candidate to this point. That there's nothing really to support that conversation, I would say.
The beginning of her article says, Tennessee told Nico Iamaleava, I can't even say his name anymore, he's been gone so long, to fly a kite, and UCLA said, come fly it here. That alleviated some homesickness, but it didn't get the start Nico's career up off the ground. Of course, the conditions in Westwood last season weren't ideal for takeoff, but now they are. He's going to suck, man. He's going to be terrible. What do you mean? Here comes Bob Chesney. Is that Kenny's dad? Who are they a relation? So. I don't know any other Chesneys.
I'd say Chesney is probably young. Bob is probably younger than Kenny, if I had to guess.
Bob, Kenny, Chesney.
If not the exact same age.
It's his uncle.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it's not. I made that up.
No, he's definitely younger than Kenny Chesney.
Thank you, Google AI. The confusion likely stems from them sharing the same last name. Yes, that's where this started.
Diane in Nashville is next. Now, Diane is the name of my future mother-in-law that has helped organize this trip. Diane, is this you?
It is not your future mother-in-law, but yes, it is Diane.
But it could be. Do you have a daughter?
It could be, depending on who you meet.
Ignore him, Diane. What you got?
Well, I used to fly like 3 times a week for work, and one of the things I encountered is if you did not complete, if your ultimate trip is all the way through on Delta, if you don't make that first leg, it may cancel out your trip. So you may need to check with your mother-in-law in case she needs to do some looking on the Portugal leg.
Thank you for the call, Diane. I will get to the airport and walk straight up to the Delta counter and ask them myself. Thank you to everybody for chiming in. I did not even think about that possibility. I just figured I just got to be in Boston before 11:30 p.m. tonight, and I'm good. I did not factor in the possibility of missing the connecting flights and that booting me from the plane, which would be a shame. Would hate to get stuck in Boston while the rest of my family gets to go to Portugal with that.
Yeah, they're just FaceTiming you like, oh, look how great. What do you do in Portugal? Isn't it like mud baths? Isn't that a big thing there? Like you go sit in like the thing full of mud, you come out and they like beat you with like eucalyptus leaves. Am I thinking of something else?
Yeah.
Maybe that's Spain. No, I used to date, you remember in high school or college when they'd be like, oh, I'm studying abroad. Well, the broad that I was studying was from Spain, and she would talk about this all the time, like these mud baths. Maybe it was Spain and not Portugal.
I'll let you do the research on that. Meanwhile, Robert,
I'm not allowed to talk to her anymore. Cheyenne made me delete her number.
How many numbers?
I miss you, baby.
Has she made you delete?
She doesn't make me delete any numbers. Cheyenne's great. She lets me talk to all of them.
If
she doesn't. She hates them.
How are we supposed to do this?
Sorry. I'm sorry.
You tell me if you take any issue with this ranking I have, from most likely of starting week 1 to least likely among the Titans 8-man draft class.
Okay.
Carnell Tate at the top, most likely.
Yeah, most likely.
To be at the top of a depth chart. I have Anthony Hill Jr., the linebacker, there at 2.
I'd agree with that.
Okay. I have Keldrick Falk at 3, the edge rusher.
Yeah, it would be tougher. And maybe he gets listed as a starter because, like, the shebang around him is that he's a great run stopper, so maybe he starts the game because on first down they would be more likely to play the run, so I don't have a problem with him at 3.
Okay. I have Pat Coogan at 4 at center. Do you think, is it more likely that Pat Coogan is starting at center or that Keldrick Falk is starting on the edge? Week 1, not talking about the end of the season, I'm talking about the opening weekend.
I think it's more likely that Falk is starting.
Okay.
I think that they would, unless you get in and, is it Schlotman? I'm going to do this all year. Schlotman, unless he looks awful, I still don't think you start a 5th-round rookie at center week 1.
Mm-hmm.
That's just me. I think you give the vet a chance to try to fix it. And if he can't, maybe week 6, somewhere in the season, you would make the change. But yeah, I would go Falk over Coogan.
Okay, so should it be more likely, because right after Coogan I have Carmona, the rookie out of Arkansas, here theoretically starting at right guard. Should he be in front of Pat Coogan? Would it be more likely that they would place Carmona, who they drafted before Coogan, to start at right guard week 1, as opposed to Coogan starting at center week 1?
That would be him beating out Cordell Volson, who they brought in free agency. I would say that Carmona's chances of starting are better than Coogan's.
Okay.
That's just a blind
I agree with
shot
that.
in the dark.
I agree with that because of the nature of the position.
Yeah, but the crazy thing is I think Volson is a better player than Schlotman. So I don't know. I mean, inherently that would be me saying that I think Fernando is a better player than Coogan, which it remains to be seen. But I do think there's a better chance that they would start a rookie guard than a rookie center.
Okay. Then following the 2 interior offensive linemen, I have Nick Singleton at 6 most likely.
Sure.
As we've talked about a lot today, it would not be shocking to see Singleton as a premier back for this team in 2027. Week 1, though, that's a tall task. And then it rounds out with Jaron Kanik, the tight end out of Oklahoma at 7. Jackie Marshall, the depth piece that they drafted, the interior D lineman out of Baylor. To me, he is the least likely to start. I mean, he and Kanik kind of go hand in hand in that at tight end and defensive.
Maybe they start on special teams. Maybe
yes,
they're in the
for sure.
Yeah, but if you should panic if Kanik is the number 1 tight end week 1, you should panic.
Oh, we're gonna have fun with that this year for sure.
I'm sure we're gonna beat into the ground. What about Jackie Marshall, which sounds like a Quentin Tarantino character?
Yeah, I have him at the bottom of the list. He and Kanik at the bottom of the list.
Agreed.
Okay.
All right, so you're out
of
of here?
opportunity. Well, we'll come back and we'll throw it to Robert Salah, who met earlier today with Titans media, setting the table for rookie minicamp. Titans draft class members will not be practicing this weekend. Salah gave his reasoning for that and just how things will look over the next few weeks, what he liked about this draft class, and so on. You will hear from the Titans head coach next. All right. I'm getting ready to head out. I guess you'll hear me on here in the last segment of the show, but full disclosure, that was done before we started things off. We will wrap things up a little bit later. We're talking about my travel schedule. Everybody understand what's happening here. We don't lie to our audience, okay? Unlike some, Zach. I'm just kidding. It was an unnecessary shot. We are fueled by Hattie B's Hot Chicken. Download the Hattie B's app. HattieB.com is where you can order for pickup or delivery. I'm out of here. Appreciate you guys. I will talk to you after next week. But for right now, Titans head coach Robert Salah from his earlier press conference with Titans media to kick off Rookie Minicamp 2026.
That's a good one.
Yeah, that's got it. You guys can open right up.
Robert, just how eager are you to get these guys on the field and get a look at them from a football on the field sense, I guess?
It's always exciting to get them out here. New players. It's just there's a lot of excitement for sure.
So what's the plan for the draft picks?
The draft picks, to give background, when they're going through the draft process, especially the 30 visits, they've been doing a lot of traveling. So over the weekend with our draft picks, we're going to be doing more baseline checking with them. So they'll be with the weight room, the strength and conditioning coaches. They're meeting with all of us throughout the day, but as far as practice goes, they'll be with the strength and conditioning staff, creating a baseline to see where they're at.
Is this something that you've done before with your draft picks?
I've call it a scar. I was on the staff that saw Dante Fowler tear his ACL on the first rep of rookie minicamp, and so I've just taken the philosophy. These guys have had a lot. They've had a lot of stress over the last month. Their bodies aren't ready for football. And so we're just trying to see where they're at so we can properly get them acclimated once they get here with the veterans.
Undrafted and tryout guys?
We're rolling.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that a flaw in the system, the way it's set up to where guys can't come right in and compete? You said they're not ready for football yet because they've been training for combine stuff.
Yeah, I don't know if it's a flaw. You've got to compete in the moment, and they're for all intents and purposes, they're competing to get drafted as high as they can. And once they get drafted, it's the organization's responsibility to go through their due diligence to make sure they're doing what's right for the player. And every team's different, and I'm not saying our way is the right way. It just, some teams will go 11 on 11 and throw all their rookies in there and see what they're at. But like I said, you can call it just scars and just trying to make sure that we do things the right way. This weekend's not going to make or break anything. And the second part to it also is we get so enamored with the draft picks that our eyes kind of get fixated on them and their movement. And there's about 40 or 50 other guys. I don't know the exact roster, but we really want to make sure that all our scouts, all our coaches, all of our attention is on these undrafted free agents and tryout guys, just to see if we can find one or two that can make this 90-man and compete.
How hard is it for these guys, I think it might be as many as 58, to shine in a way that not only you want them, but you want to cut somebody to make room for them?
It is, Paul. It's hard, man. And I can appreciate it. But I feel like every year, one or two guys kind of shine and they make it to the 90-man roster. And I actually told him a story about Benson Mayowa. Back when I was in Seattle, he was a tryout guy. We were the only rookie minicamp tryout that he had. And that was a world championship team that had one of the best defenses in the history of football. And he not only made the 90, but made the 53 and had a long 9-year career. And, so you never know. But it seems like one or two guys every year makes it to the 90.
What was appealing about this kid, Tyron Montgomery, late to football, an older prospect? What was appealing to bringing him in?
Again, it's our scouts do a lot of work on these guys, and obviously they feel like he's got the talent to be able to make it, and giving him an opportunity to try out and see where he's at.
What are the conversations you're having with these guys ahead of the next couple days in terms of expectations, what you're looking for from them?
From all these guys, the reality is, from a coaching staff standpoint, we've put in the bare minimum. We're trying to allow these guys to play as fast as humanly possible where they're not thinking. And the expectation for them, just take your shot. It's schematically, we're going to put them in a position where they're not thinking. They can just go play. Don't worry about the things that you don't have control over. Compete the best you can. And but at the end of the day, they've got 3 days of being an NFL player at the very least, and being a Tennessee Titan, and which I think is pretty freaking cool. And so hopefully it goes the way they're all hoping.
I know it's been limited, but that interaction, the back and forth with Cam Ward and Carnell Tate,
What do you think of that? How has it been?
It has been minimal. I think it's we're excited to get him back here next week. It's not next week, but the week after. But they've got a lot of they've all got a lot of work to do. You know, you got a new system, new coordinator, new position coaches, Cam. Not even with the guys that have been here over the last year, from last year. You know, there's just a lot of work to be done, especially with any incoming rookie. And Carnell's got to go out. He's got to compete. He's got to prove that he belongs. He's got to prove that he deserves the ball. And it's going to start day one once he gets here.
One of the biggest benefits of getting that extra minicamp with you being one of the new head coaches that was hired, as far as getting to do this again in your second opportunity?
No, I think it's good. You know, like really just for the process of it all. You know, getting in and out of the huddle, calling plays, running plays. We didn't have a huge minicamp. You know, but we just got them acclimated to the way we're going to do things. And then to go back to phase 2 again, which was this past week, and reset and go back to the beginning again. And so it's just another time that they get to hear it. So hopefully by training camp, they've heard it 4 times rather than 3. And so as many times as we can introduce the scheme to them and introduce the day 1, 2, 3 installs, the better for the players so they can go fast.
What's your vision for Anthony Hill in the middle of the defense? I know Dave was telling us there's not much of a distinction in your scheme between Mike Samuel. Just where do you see him playing and how does he fit?
We'll see how it all goes. You know, Cody's doing a really nice job, so is said. Moose has got something to say about it, Diabate, who we brought in. So, you know, for Anthony, it's just going in there, learning the system, competing every day and see where he's at. But thankfully, we're in a position where he's got to go earn it, just like everybody else does. And the top 2 linebackers will play nickel, top 3 will play base.
Robert, how much time have you spent looking back at tape of last year's Titans, and what stood out to you, and how much, if anything, do you take from that?
The extent of our film watching was really when we first got here, just to look at the personnel, to see what we have, and to see what translates to what we do defensively. But other than that, schematically, there's nothing.
In terms of guys not being football ready, what are some maybe early indicators that you're looking for that show that maybe they are a few steps ahead than where you're expecting them to be?
It's really going to come down to meetings. You know, just to see. You know, our coaches did a really nice job putting together what we call voiceovers. So a lot of teach tapes that they can send out, and so our guys can watch and listen to the coach speaking through the tape. So there's a lot of material that they can access on their own. But really, you're really just communicating with them. We'll get an idea of where they're at once they get here next week, and over the weekend. But that's to be determined.
With a guy like Hill, who may eventually wear the green dot, like how do you go about monitoring? Okay, I'm giving him this much. He's able to still play fast, but also trying to give him enough responsibility to eventually take that green dot.
Yeah, he's all these rookies are it's like drinking from a fire hose, you know. So it's especially at the Mike linebacker spot where they're the quarterback of the defense, and so we're going to give him as much as he can handle, and try to find that balance between too much versus too little. And every player has a breaking point, and even Fred Warner, you know, I had to go through. I've told the story many times that his second year against Arizona, it was a Thursday night game, and I put so much on his plate, and to this day, probably the worst game he's ever played in his career. And I realized I did that to him because of what I did to him with regards to all the different things I was asking him to do. And so we'll learn Anthony over the course of the next couple months. We'll learn Cody. We'll learn Moose. We'll learn We'll learn all of them, and whatever that balance is, we'll figure it out.
Some of the things you'll weigh in deciding to have rookie camp this week compared to next week, pros and cons, and why maybe this week?
No, good one. So, again, personal philosophy. These guys have been on these 30 visits. They're not as conditioned as they need to be. Their working out has been sporadic. So, by being the first week, I think we get first dibs on all these. All the guys that our scouts think highly of with regards to getting them in the rookie minicamp, because there's a competition to get them here. And 2, for me, it's to get their clock started. You know, a lot of guys who have rookie minicamp my belief is that if it was next week, they would just wait till next week to start working out again. So for us, it's get them started a week earlier, get them moving a little bit sooner. Again, all in an effort to protect them once they get here and protect their bodies.
You guys didn't draft any. You guys didn't draft any defensive backs in the draft, and yet the numbers there were a little bit thin behind your starters that you signed and had here. What do you need to see from some of these guys you're bringing in here as DBs and tryouts to that maybe they can contribute something?
It's wide open. You hit it. It's wide open. You know, the back end of the roster with regards to our corner position, when you're looking at the 3, 4, 5 spot, it is wide open, and it's going to be exciting to see it all develop. There's a couple of undrafted guys that we're excited about, and you know, and that doesn't close the door to possibly bringing in a couple of vets either. So we are excited about our starters. Don't sleep on Marcus. I think he's going to be a fun one to watch. But otherwise, you are right in terms of the depth of that back end needing to prove itself.
Your experience with finding gems in the undrafted free agent pool?
Every year, man. I'm telling you, I just talked about Benson. It's every year 1 or 2 guys, whether it's offense or defense, kind of shines and they make it to the 90 and somehow they do something cool. And I mean, shoot, we every year. I forgive me, I can't think of any off the top of my head, but I promise you, 1 or 2 from this camp are going to shine and make it under the 90.
Robert, Ben and Paul. Robert, you mentioned Carnell needing to kind of build trust with Cam and whatnot. As far as the acclimation process with him, though, is it a kind of case where you're going to try to maybe move him around early, or do you want him to maybe master one receiver spot like X or Z before you have him try to dabble in other spots?
Well, that's part of the system in terms of your base fundamental teaching starts in square one, where this is who you are, this is where you're going to align. But Dayball's system is designed to be able to move the players wherever he needs to move them, to be able to put us in advantageous situations. And so whether it's moving Ridley around, whether it's moving Wendell around, whether it's moving Ellick, Carnell, anyone, moving the back all over the place. Taj has a really good ability out of the backfield. So, we're working on all that stuff, but eventually he's going to have to figure all that stuff out.
What's your understanding of what we did to warrant the restriction of our access that's been pretty much the same for 30 years?
There's a lot of construction outside.
Been that same construction for 3 years running, and it hasn't been a problem.
Yeah, you're gonna have to answer. He's got the answer for that one.
All right, thanks, guys.
Thanks.
There's the Titans head coach, Robert Salah. Just about ready to wrap the show up. One final reminder, if you have not gotten your install tickets for tonight, 1045thezone.com. Greg Cosell, Titans general manager Mike Borgonzi, breaking down the Titans rookies and free agents. But I'm feeling generous. I'm feeling willing to give someone out there a pair of tickets to the install tonight as the final pair I'm going to give away today. Give us a call, 615-737-1045, and you and a lucky friend, lady, person in your life will be going to the install tonight. We'll get to slobber all over Greg Cosell the same way I'm going to for these draft evals. Give us a call right now. Caller number 5 will win those install tickets. We'll wrap up the show coming up next here on 1045 The Zone. Welcome back in the show. It's Friday. We don't know how to do the show well enough to plan and time things out. So to help me with that, need a little help from my friend, Zach Lyons, who is opening up for Greg Cosell and Buck Rising at the Install tonight. Football and other F words. You and Stoney Keeley are going to be on the stage. What do you have planned for us tonight, buddy?
Well, I think first and foremost, thanks to Buck and them for having us on. We didn't embarrass them last year when we were in the lobby, and this year they're actually promoting us into the actual studio on the stage. So we must have done something right, or at least they didn't pay attention and know that we did everything wrong last year. So.
Yeah, right. I thought you guys did. You still did a good job in the hallway, but excited to see you on the stage tonight, especially Stoney. He is going to look great under the big lights.
Oh, yeah. Big guy under the big lights. That's how it goes. Oh, so we're going to talk about where the roster is at. What does the roster say about the season as far as expectations? We're going to talk about the process, the strategy, because obviously Greg Cosell, Mike Berganzi are going to break down the film. So why do we need to break down the X's and O's specifically in this episode? But we're going to talk about what's most important. What are some of the things the draft told us? What do they want to be, both offensively and defensively, philosophy, strategies, all that kind of stuff. We got some good nuggets. And Stoney wrapped up his film study this morning, if people have seen my tweets about Jackie Marshall and Jaron Kinnick. So we're going to be talking about those guys a little bit more tonight. And we're ending the show with a special lightning round where we're going to comp players to wrestlers.
Shut up.
Nope.
And you didn't even tell me about this?
I'm telling you right now.
What?
Right at the end of the show, we're going to do that.
I don't even want to start throwing them out now. So it's not going to be just Titans players.
I've only been able to figure out one for just the rookies, but I've only been able to figure out one for Nicholas Singleton. Everybody else I'm still struggling with.
I'll give you one. We'll start Pat Coogan. How about who was the he tagged with Murdoch. Why can I not think of his name? Trevor Murdoch.
Yeah, Trevor Murdoch.
Pat Coogan, the unassuming, big kind of guy. What's he going to do in here?
Someone just popped in my head when you said that, so I'm gonna may go somewhere else, but I got something for that one.
Okay, cool deal.
Yeah,
cool
so
deal.
there you go.
One thing you are excited to learn on our way out from Mike Borganzi at tonight's event. By the way, if you hadn't got your tickets still available at 104.5 The Zone, or you can go to the Hutton's page, and they also have a posting there.
I'm interested to see what's his go-to cocktail and what spice level of Hattie B's hot chicken can he handle.
That's Zach Lyons. He's coming up next with Blaine Bishop on Cover 2. Now I can play the pre-recorded segment that we actually recorded because we were not smart enough to time this out with the short breaks today. Hope you guys have a great weekend. Excited to see you at the install. Here's whatever the hell Buck wanted you to hear that we recorded this morning.
Welcome back to the show, fueled by Hattie B's Hot Chicken, the best hot chicken in the world. I cannot wait to eat some Hattie B's Hot Chicken tonight. I imagine it's the only reason that Lucas may have some regret for missing the install, because there will be great hot chicken and all the sides, of which he is a great fan. Not enough to keep him from going to Portugal, though.
That is the thing that I will be thinking about. Little dream bubbles over my head on the plane. I'll be thinking about that half bird, medium heat, maybe some pimento mac and cheese. Are you guys still here?
What are you doing? Hot chicken ASMR? What are you doing?
Sorry, I got distracted a little bit. I got a little flustered.
Don't stand up. So we'll wrap it up here and send Lucas on his way, and he's going to be gone all next week, which Robert is just, you can hear the screams in the background of what that's going to sound like of him being stuck here with me.
Not in the background.
It was very much in the foreground. Yes, screams and cries for help for all next week. Don't worry, we'll have a bunch of fun guests, because God knows I'm not going to do more work without Lucas there. What are you going to do in Portugal? Because we're going to Brazil for your wedding, but you're taking a trip to Portugal with your entire fiance's family as well?
Yes, that entire side of the family. My fiance's mother, kind enough to organize this trip. So we're going to Lisbon for 4 days. We're going to the southern coast for 4 days. I can check it off my list. Go see some castles, see some cool things, old cities, walk around, eat a lot of food, and I'm very, very excited.
But you will base your travel plans entirely on whether or not you have heard good things about a place's food. You are vehemently anti-Ireland because you have heard bad things about the food.
No interest. But we go. I like to travel full blown Anthony Bourdain, no reservation style. Like you don't pack out the itinerary. Like people like to schedule every minute of every day on these trips. Just get there and then just start walking. And then just start discovering things. That's the way I like to do things.
Can it be Anthony Bourdain if there's not self-loathing and pomposity and cigarettes and
pretentiousness?
Okay, you're an anti-Anthony Bourdain person.
Rest in peace.
Are you? Go ahead and slander the dead. No, I dare you.
He's just not that cool. He thinks he's so cool. Oh, you smoke a cigarette with dinner. I do that. Am I cool?
He studies the human condition.
He should have studied it a little harder.
Get out of here.
No.
Ridiculous.
Oh, my God. I'm dying to go to Portugal. I was hoping to tack that on to the end of my Euro trip that I'm going to take this summer, but time is not going to allow for an additional leg outside of Germany, of which I'm very much looking forward to. How many places can you go to in Europe that have castles? Castles is a main attraction. Yeah,
pretty much all of them.
Yeah, Portugal. What if you were giving Robert and me a list of things that we have to do as outsiders going to Portugal? What would they be?
Ooh, I don't know. Stay tuned.
Have you never been?
No, this is my first time.
He's a fake. Oh, wait, really?
I've never been to Portugal.
Wait, why? Why? But you speak Portuguese because that's what they speak in Brazil?
Yes. But I've never been to Portugal. I don't have any family. I have no connections to Portugal whatsoever.
Hang on. Say something cool in Portuguese.
Oi.
No, I mean like a saying.
That means hello. No, I've never been. I'm excited, man. I'm going to check it off the list. But I am afraid I'm not going to understand a word because Brazilian Portuguese is very different from Portugal Portuguese. The accent is completely different. Like when I listen to Cristiano Ronaldo speak in interviews, I can't understand a word he's saying. It's like, I don't know. I don't even know. It's like they have marbles in their mouth or something. The way that they finish words, the way they say the consonants differently at the end. And so I'm very nervous because the entire family just assumes that I'm going to be able to get us around and be our sort of liaison. And I fear that I'm going to be a complete and utter failure this week.
Oh, no. So Megan's entire family, this would be a moment of great shame for you, right?
It would be very embarrassing. Have you been lying to us
Robert
this entire time?
Well, that's why I was confused about you having never been to Portugal, because you spent so much time lying about your various ethnicities that now your your current fiance and future wife's family will find out that you are also a fraud.
Well, they have this thing that they do at the end, especially when a word ends in S. Like if a name, the name Santos is a very popular Portuguese Brazilian name, right? And in Portuguese in Brazil, it's just Santos. But in Portugal, they'll say Santos. And they say it super fast, and every word is like that with
a
totally
sh at the end.
Yes, like the S at the end of the word is a sh, and that's just one example. But we'll see. We'll see.
Robert, have you ever been out of the country?
I went to Toronto once.
That doesn't count.
Hey, Toronto does count.
You need a passport.
Toronto, I do have a passport.
Look at the two of you just over that microphone. Kiss. You won't.
Islands in the stream, that is what we are. Nothing in between. How could we be wrong?
And just know it's very sensual, almost as sensual as Lucas talking about Hattie B's, of which, by the way, it was wonderful to see Nick Bishop and Anthony and the great crew from Hattie B's yesterday. Always great to have our hot chicken overlords in the building. And it sounds like we're getting ready to go to war, a hot chicken war that is brewing.
More on that later.
The war that we would actually participate in, not if we were drafted.
I would not dodge that draft.
No, I'm not dodging that draft.
The hot chicken wars, the great hot chicken wars of 2026. Robert, do you have any desire?
What do you want?
To go out of the country? You have to be nice to me today because I'm your source of entertainment and mostly free booze tonight.
Well, as soon as the sponsors get there with the liquor, I won't need you anymore. So, and also,
you won't need me out after the fact? You won't need...
I will need your clout. I will need your clout after the fact.
Correct.
That is fine. I will need you after, but you will forget about this segment by then because you will have had a long day. No, tonight we feast. Tonight we drink. Tonight we indulge in the bearskin rug that is Greg Cosell's body.
Oh, God.
I am just excited to indulge in everything that tonight has to offer. And I have not gotten one person to tweet me their receipt to hit the baba.
Because that's because they don't want to drink after you.
Well, I can get them their own little baba.
They're concerned. What, are you going to find a baby Milagro bottle? Pocket shot?
I asked Ramon, I was like, what mixers do you want? He said ice and lime. I was like, okay, I don't have to go far.
The green room is going to be popping tonight. The green room.
I think
because I saw the station list of attendees. I know Teron Davenport is going to be there. I know Darren Bates is going to be there.
Fun.
And he's going to help us pay a little tribute to Coach Mack because of course Darren Bates and Coach Mack had crossover. When Bates got, I believe Bates was a UDFA out of Auburn with the Rams when Mack was still coaching linebackers under Jeff Fisher.
I do feel like we need to institute some kind of policy for the Installs green room tonight.
Are you two just going to stay huddled in the corner together there?
Yes, I will. Here, Lucas, could you mind
holding each other
while we're recording this segment?
Holding each other for warmth.
Just hold me like. Paint me like one of your French girls. We need Ross or somebody to work security detail for the green room because there was too many goobers involved last year. It needs to be a less goober.
You mean the audience?
No, the audience wasn't that. It was the people associated with the station that are goobers.
Oh, you mean somebody's husband who's probably an ex-husband by now?
It's been a great show. See you guys tonight. The Hutton, the Install, the Analog, all of those things. What time does it start?
Wait, did we go enough time?
Yeah, we went enough time. It's like 8 minutes.
Are you sure?
Yeah, plenty of time.
Okay,
we'll
very
see you
good.
tonight.
That's going to do it for us tonight. Have a great rest of your day. We look forward to seeing you at the Hutton Hotel with Greg Cosell, with Titans GM Mike Borgonzi to raise money for a great cause. You can get tickets at the door if you have not gotten yours already. Remember that you can be entered to win a Carnell Tate, a new number 14 Carnell Tate jersey at the event with your ticket purchase. Multiple ticket purchases mean multiple entries for the jersey giveaway presented by Two Rivers Ford and A to Z Sports. Can't wait to hang out with you guys tonight. Have a great rest of your weekend. Robert and me will be back to recap it all on Monday morning.
Bye.